Hit live here, now what? Do I hit it live here now?
It's live.
Okay,
All right.
You guys talking, let me make sure.
All right, guys, so it looks like we are live now. Just give us a couple minutes here. We're going to get things going. We're just waiting for people to start popping on the live feeds, giving people a moment to jump on here. This has been kind of a random, spontaneous streaming, but we decided that we wanted to do a special dedicated live stream to celebrate Independence Day, celebrate families, celebrate good news and updates, and just to talk about some of the things that we're facing in America today. So let's just, wait for a second here. We're going to get people on the live stream, and then we're going to jump right into it. And I'm going to tell you about some of the special guests that we're going to have on today's show.
Did you want to say anything, Minna?
Just a second, let me send this link.
Oh, it looks like we are live. Wow, we are live.
How's the audio sound?
It sounds good.
No, I mean like check on the social media.
All right, so
Okay.
we kind of have a somewhat of a newer setup here, so that's why we're just letting it slowly build.
Just a second, let me send this link.
Yeah, I can hear the audio. Audio's good. And watch everyone in the chat now. The audio is giving feedback. It's duplicating. The audio's wrong. A million people, all the trolls are now attacking over the audio for that 2 seconds of me playing the program audio on my phone. That's how it goes. Oh, man. And sometimes, the audio's fine, and the trolls will say that, and then it's like, man, get you caught off guard. All right, so I think we're going to get started here. Gavin, do you think we got enough people in here, or do you think we need to let people come in for a little bit longer? You can look on the restream and see how many people on the various streams.
I'm just making sure, because what it was is we had the audio coming from one of the cameras coming in because of the HDMI thing. So it's okay. Rough on the edges. Okay, say something.
Okay.
Talk.
Happy 4th of July!
Happy Independence Day, the day that our founding fathers decided to kick the butts of the British kings and the British royals that decided to oppress them in their new land and their new homes. The day that they decided, screw your taxes, and basically gave the King of England the middle finger and decided to revolt and rebel against their undue taxes and tyrannical oppression against the people. And if our forefathers didn't have the balls to stand up for themselves on July 4th, 1776, then we would not have this beautiful country that we have today. We would have something that probably looked more similar to Canada, I'm guessing, which, come on, no offense, I love my Canadians, but America is way more kick-ass than Canada. Sorry, guys, we have certain rights that it can't be beat. That's what makes America the greatest country in the world. Even though we're dealing with some ridiculous corruption, the Biden administration and some of these communist Marxists who are in office, we still are the best country in the United States, and that's what 4th of July is about. I don't know about you, Minna, but do you remember how good it felt as a young kid to go and celebrate 4th of July with our family and go watch the fireworks shows? And it was just this I have these nostalgic feelings of just so much joy and happiness, and feeling like America is the greatest country. It's the best place in the world, and we are so blessed and lucky to be in America. Don't you remember having those memories?
Yes, I do remember a lot of great times on 4th of July. And I even remember just this past 4th of July at Gavin's cousin Adam's house. He throws great parties. It's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I love going to his barbecues, and they do the fireworks show there, and it's just a lot of fun. I love celebrating 4th of July. It's an amazing holiday. It's, you know, it's our founding fathers built this country, and, you know, we need to celebrate it. So.
Absolutely. And the people out here in the country, rural America, flyover America, they definitely know how to celebrate the 4th of July. I mean, we've already been seeing fireworks going off all around the area. Pop, 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 you know. We actually have some neighbors that every 4th of July, they actually start shooting off some cannons, and you'll actually feel the house rumble a little bit. So I'm just waiting for those to get popped off here tonight. I won't be surprised if we start hearing it. But oftentimes we'll hear people, you know, practice shooting their guns, firing off their cannons, firing off all kinds of fireworks and mortars of all kinds out here in rural America. So they know how to celebrate the 4th of July. So for those of you guys who have not, who don't know who my sister Minna is, I'm going to introduce her. This is my sister, Minna Valens. She has a YouTube channel, Minna Valentine, on YouTube, if you guys want to look into her music. But she is a very talented singer. I'm not even kidding you. Like, she is so talented at singing that she's down to the science where she can actually impersonate different singers' vocals and the sounds of different singers. And she actually had a pretty viral YouTube video. Do you remember the YouTube video where you would...
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, she had a viral YouTube video where she was doing...
My vocal impressions video.
Right, vocal impressions. And I was sitting there like, say, sing Britney Spears, or sing Rihanna, or sing Celine Dion, or sing Patsy Cline, and she could just instantly do those amazing impersonations, but with singing, right? But overall, she has kind of her own unique styles and her own unique way of singing. But I asked her to come on here today because I wanted to start off this broadcast by first singing the national anthem. So Minna's here today to start us off on this special broadcast by singing the national anthem. Now, I don't know if we have an American flag in this room right now, but I'll just put my hand over my heart anyway and imagine that I'm seeing one up on the wall. Go ahead, Minna.
Okay. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
job. That was amazing. It always like gives me goosebumps hearing that song. Well, so I hope you guys enjoyed that national anthem performance by my sister Minna. Thank you so much, Minna, for joining me here on today's special broadcast and sharing your beautiful voice with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Of course. All right, so we're also going to have my brother here who he is a patriot. He's got his resist communist shirt on, of course, which I think is awesome because he's all about resisting communism. He's done some trucking for a while as well, but he's done all kinds of other work, honorable work, blue-collar work, right? The real kind of work, not the pansy, woke, liberal, at the university kind of work, which we know we've got a lot of problems with that in America, where you send your kids off to universities and they come out with rainbow-colored hair, and they come out with all kinds of different gender identities and believing that communism and Marxism is the only way that America can actually, we have to turn America into a Marxist communist country. What do you think about that, Chuck?
I think that as a trucker, I experienced and I saw the most red-pilled Americans I've ever met. You go all around the country and you see the most red-pilled people you ever meet. I go talk to a trucker, go ask a trucker, and you'll see. It's like a little community. Each one of them, they probably listen to 10 hours of content a day while they're trucking. All different networks, all different things, and it's like you go to a truck stop and it's like everybody goes talks to each other. We don't have family there, so we're just a giant family, and it's basically like a modern day a Rome type debate, like talk, debate, inform each other. So yeah, trucking was awesome, and I like blue collar work. It makes me feel very American, like our forefathers, putting in that blood, sweat, and tears to build our country. So don't let the liberals knock you when they try to say that they're college, you
Right.
You got to be you got to be this in the, gender studies room to be this in the social credit score,
Yeah, I went to a university and I spent $150,000 on my university education so I could study women's studies, feminist studies. Yeah, a worthless degree that pretty much means nothing except I've been brainwashed to all get out. Yeah, I mean, it's a freaking scam. It's a scam. A lot of those degrees and those programs that they're having people study, it's literally a scam. Unless you're actually going to university to become like a doctor or a scientist or something in like a STEM career path, for the most part, they're just getting people signed up for pretty much predatory loans that people are going to have to be paying back and incurring massive amounts of interest on. And I think that's why you have so many millennials, so many younger people that have such a chip on their shoulder over their student loan debt, is really they were sold a bunch of baloney in high school about everyone has to go to college, everyone has to go to university, and they all signed up for these huge loans, right?
I'd say that the American way is through the way of starting your own business, and these socialists, they go through this route of you have to have this certification, you have to go through this school, you have to go through this thing, and they hate rural America because some dude that owns a roach company, using pesticides to kill a roach could be a millionaire. And they love these little things where you have to be this tier, like everything has to be tiered out, where the higher tier you are, the more control you are. And I think it's set up that way so politicians are always at the top of that tier looking down, you know what I mean? Like the serf peasant, stuff like that. The real American dream, I feel like, is the blue-collar worker. And I think they look down on us, but, a lot of people out here, they're small business owners. You go down the street, a guy owns we talked to a guy who owned a cabinet company. Gavin's cousin owns a fence company. Everybody owns a company out here, and you don't need to go to college to learn a skilled trade. So I'd say that's the real America. The real America are the truck drivers, the builders, the pavers. They're not brainwashed through these colleges.
And I'd say that like encouraging young men to go into career paths where they're going to trade schools or they're becoming apprentices, it actually kind of helps promote them being in that masculine energy, in those manly masculine roles versus just being behind a desk all day pushing pencils, which sure there's some people that's great, and there's nothing wrong with that, but we also have to appreciate the blue collar workers, because America was pretty much built by blue collar workers. The high sky-rise buildings, how many men fell to their deaths doing that? I mean, not even kidding you. How many men were up there running the electric lines and were electrocuted and died? How many men have died in some of the most insane, high-risk jobs that I think most people and women take for granted, that men have risked their lives to essentially build the infrastructure of this country. So not only should we be celebrating on Independence Day, obviously, our forefathers for coming together and signing the Declaration of Independence and moving forward with fighting for our independence from a monarchy, essentially. But we should be also celebrating those men, mostly men, okay, and we'll say and women, because there are some women who in the modern day have fought bravely and valiantly. But the men and women who have given their lives and have worked their joints and their bones down to build this country and make it what it is today. And yeah, it's really upsetting. I mean, wouldn't you say, Chuck, it's pretty upsetting to see that like Joe Biden and some of these Democrats with this woke mindset, how they're just giving all this money to Ukraine while our homeless veterans are just living on the street in squalor. We've got actual veterans who have given so much, have their psychological state has been damaged. They've watched some of their brothers at arms be killed, and they're traumatized because of that. And they're living on the streets or suffering, yet Biden just keeps wanting to shell out billions of dollars to Ukraine. I mean, this is insane. Wouldn't you say? Like,
yeah, I'd say it's really insane. I think so once you start looking at the top, what you really notice is a lot of so the right yells at the left and says, "Oh, it's the bottom feeders that take the money," and the truth is that at the very top, a lot of it is the politicians and the elite taking our money for our tax dollars.
Right. Exactly. And so, I mean, I guess what I'm kind of getting at here, Chuck, is these woke liberals in how they continually push for communism. Because I'm looking at your shirt here, resist communism. Why do you think our generation is so easily kind of swept up in this idea that socialism or communism in America would be a good idea?
Well, when I was a kid, I was raised in Kansas, and I was told communism's not a bad ideology. I was told in school by that. I was told communism's not a bad ideology. It's just like capitalism. It's just like these other ideologies and stuff like that. So we're taught that in school nowadays. And I think that as a young man, if I wasn't able to get a skilled trade and learn that trade, and I went and I just worked at Walmart one day and I made $8 an hour and I never strived to get any further than that, I'd probably be I wouldn't be able to experience capitalism and the free market and stuff like that. So most of the youth nowadays is raised that communism is good, capitalism is bad. And I think that once you actually experience capitalism, once you actually experience the job market, you wouldn't go back to it. Because I think at the end of the day, all communism is and socialism is that $12 an hour job. Even if that $12 an hour job turns to $20 an hour, the inflation will just meet right up to that.
Right. Like I know some millennials who they they have been struggling, or they went to university and they got these crazy student loans to go study business, or whatever other degree they study, right? But particularly this person I know is business, and they couldn't do anything with their degrees, and instead they're in the service sector and they're making like $12, $11 an hour, which is not that great at all, but it's also not like $8 an hour, but it's still pretty close to 10. I mean, it's not great for having massive amounts of money that you owe in student loans and interest that you're incurring that 10 years down the line you're still owing the same amount because of how much interest you're actually incurring from that loan. And they feel like they got, basically sold a pipe dream, and they were pretty much misinformed. And so you see a lot of that bitterness going on there. And I think that kind of plays a role into why people feel like that maybe communism or Marxism, because they're in a hole, right? And we have to think, like, who allowed for these policy changes? Who allowed for these things to happen? The Democrats, right? Like, they were the ones who allowed for these things to happen. They shouldn't have just been handing out these student loans like it was nothing. But anyway, let's not, we kind of went in quite a bit into student loans and everything, but I kind of wanted to reel it back into talking about Independence Day.
Yeah, I want to say, God bless America. God bless you. 1776. I think we need to spend today remembering what our forefathers did. Every time you fire off that firecracker, just know your forefathers shot that at a British soldier. So 1776, God bless America. Don't let your forefathers die in vain. Thousands of your forefathers died for you to have that right, the right that we have in our country. Freedom of speech, gun rights, rights of privacy, our right to travel. And don't let your forefathers die in vain. And every time you shoot off that firework, remember your forefathers died, and that firecracker represents that gunpowder that was shot, that death that was made, and that guy that died on that side.
That's so true. People take it for granted. And I think that's kind of what we're getting at here when we were even talking about some of these millennials getting caught up in the Marxist communist ideology, is really and truly, if you're going down that route of communist, Marxist, socialist ideologies, what you're actually doing is you are basically taking for granted all of the rights that we have today because people lay down their lives. We have the right to freedom of speech, which many other countries right now are seeing that they really don't have that freedom, and we're starting to see it more and more, right? We take for granted how we have the Constitution, which is there to hold the government back from impeding on our rights, okay? But these other countries, you're seeing people being arrested or criminally charged for hate speech, criminally charged for memes, for goodness sakes. So it's not just that people are being censored across social media platforms, which we're seeing that all the time, but people are being criminally charged for speech in even some Western nations, but nations, the Middle East, China, I mean, they've got a lot stricter rules there where you can't just say what you want to say. They have censorship. So
yeah, I was talking to some guy from China the other day, and he lives in peace in America, but I told him, what happens in 5 years when you look at your cell phone and the phone says, your social credit score is too low for you to access this device, and everybody just shoves it off like it doesn't exist, but it's all across the world.
Can we tell that story? Because that was hilarious. So Tori, Tori says, she just was celebrating her daughter. Her oldest daughter was getting married up in Cleveland, and we were up there. A bunch of other people from her Tori Says groups were up there. We celebrated the wedding.
Beautiful.
Beautiful wedding. But you had a lot of patriots kind of culminating around this wedding, which is interesting. And so my brother, Chuck, was hanging out. You were hanging out in a bar, right?
Tori calls it the CCP karaoke bar.
Oh, okay. So that's what it was. Okay, so I didn't go to that because I was too exhausted, but a bunch of people went out to go sing karaoke at this CCP karaoke bar, which
it's a joke because every time you'd listen to a song and it would talk about freedom of speech and stuff like that, it would bleep it out.
Yeah, so there was that song that was like freedom, 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 freedom. You know that song, right? So when that karaoke song would play, it would like bleep out that part of it would censor out the word freedom. So it was just like blank, blank, blank throughout the whole chorus of that song. So it was pretty funny. So yeah, that's she was calling it the CCP karaoke bar. So tell us what happened. Did you walk up to this guy, or did he walk up to you?
Oh, I walked up to him. He had a Pokemon card with a car with wrapped in Jigglypuff. So I came up and I told him, I said, I was raised on Pokemon. I like your car. And he's like, oh yeah, you like your you like my car? I was like, yeah. I was like, I like Pokemon. Charizard was my favorite. He said, Charizard's a good Pokemon. And I basically, he was playing on his phone, and I said, how do you know that the CCP isn't spying on your device? And, he said, no, CCP not here, CCP not here. And, yeah.
Oh my gosh, see, I think this is hilarious because I think that...
I was pretty drunk, too. It was pretty funny. I had a great... Me and this guy, we were, we didn't have a bad... I wasn't, angry. That I respect the dude. He's a human being. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't trying to, hurt it. I'm just asking these questions because I really want to know. And I'm asking him, what if, CCP no here, CCP no here? And I was like, well, what if, where was Apple made? Where's Apple? And he goes, oh, China make, CCP allow. And I was like, well, how do you know that China's not, spying on you? But it's okay because CCP not here right now. And I said, well, how do you know in 5 years Apple say credit score too low, no access allow? And, he looked at me with some big eyes, and, he goes, it's CCP no here. And he's
like, why are you trying
to... Yeah, he ran up.
He's like, why are you trying to get my social credit score lowered, man?
Yeah, no, the guy next to one of Tori's, really good fans and really good friends looked at me and said, his CCP score just went...
Right. He's like, oh, man, this guy's getting my score 10.
Yeah, he's like, I got to get out of here.
We can't talk bad about CCP. No, CCP good. CCP the best. No worry about CCP. CCP good. Oh, my goodness. And so a part of me almost thinks, like, if you came up to him, did he think that you were maybe saying he was CCP? Because it almost sounds
like... I wasn't trying to.
He's like, no, CCP not here.
Yeah, I hope
He's
not.
like, no, CCP. Oh, man. I think that Tori would have got a kick out of that.
I think the CCP is more in our country than we think it is. Even though I don't think that individual was CCP, but I do think...
You never know. Maybe they were collecting some info on Tori and her groups.
Yeah, right.
Who knows? It wouldn't be the first time we've seen some spooks sitting around with some...
Well, they're definitely looking in on your phone for sure.
Yeah, right? I mean, do they really need to come spy on you when they could just, tap your phones,
why send a person when they got it all tapped anyway?
Exactly. They can just spy on us through our devices. So what's the point of doing that old school way of spying and microphoning, hot micing somebody or something, wiretapping, so to speak? But yeah, I mean, it's just, this is the craziness we're dealing with. And do you remember they actually had a couple busts that they did where there was actually CCP police operating inside the United States in U.S. cities, and they were like spying on certain American citizens and going after them. And so there's there is a real problem. And apparently there's a lot of different secret CCP headquarters and offices in the United States. And they're targeting American citizens and also Chinese-born citizens that have come to the United States to become American citizens to keep them in line, so they better not cross the CCP. And I think that's why when I went to California and I went to some of the conservative patriot marches and events, we saw a large amount of, I guess they were Chinese-born American citizens who were out there, and they were, you know, holding the big "Stop the CCP," "Fight against the CCP" signs, and they were very concerned about the CCP. And I do remember some of them talking about how they get targeted even in the U.S. by the CCP. Just for speaking about having free speech and speaking out about some of the communist tactics that they're starting to see in the U.S. today, because some of these people are older people and they have a lot of wisdom and they recognize how things were in the communist school system, and they're seeing how the young people in our school systems today, how they are being indoctrinated in a very similar fashion to how they were being indoctrinated in Chinese communist country, basically. I mean, they're seeing how this is very similar, and they're trying to warn about that. But you also see that with Cubans who have fled their communist country to come to the United States. You're seeing it with some people who fled from Venezuela and some of these other countries.
Looks like it's happened to Paris now. Looks like Paris is the next communist state.
Right. Paris is really looking like a third world nation at this rate. I mean, it's so bad. And look, the elephant in the room is the mass immigration that they had.
Do you have that clip queued? Can we play that clip?
The clip of which one? The Charlie Chaplin one?
Oh no, the Paris, what happened in Paris where they started banning people, or they started.
Oh, okay. So maybe Gavin could pull something up, but we could talk about it in the meantime. So France, right? It starts getting all these riots, and people, a lot of them are immigrant protesters and rioters who are out there literally burning buildings, burning cars, getting very, very violent with the police authorities there. You think that what the BLM did here was bad. In France, it just seems to be exponentially worse. It's just way more amplified in France. And so the local authorities, the police authorities in France, were really having a hard time trying to quell these violent rioters. And so they ended up shutting down the internet. Is that not insane? I mean, what do you think about that, Chuck? Like, what would happen if they ever shut the internet down in the U.S.? I mean, could you imagine that?
I think that nobody would know what to do. I think that a lot of people would never expect it. I think that a lot of people say it will never happen, but I think the day it happens, I don't think people will know what to do. I think that chaos will happen. I think that there's no huge, alternative to the internet right now that could pick it up. I think that we need a powerhouse to push it, but I think that the American people would be screwed, pretty much.
Now, what do you think? Like, was that the right move to make? I mean, shutting down the internet, that's pretty wild. Don't you think that would make people more panicked if they shut down the whole internet?
Well, if you're a tyranny and you're pretty much a dictatorship, you could do whatever you want. So.
Right. That's true. Now, we saw with the Summer of Love and the George Floyd riots, things got pretty bad there, to where Trump was almost considering declaring martial law to some degree, and getting the National Guard into some of these, the Democrat cities that they didn't want to bring in the National Guard initially. But what would happen if that happened, something like the Summer of Love or the George Floyd riots happened during the Biden administration? I mean...
You know what? That's a good question. I think we'll find out this next year. So I'm sure when Trump is running, there'll be some, main event that happens. They'll find something. I'm sure that someone we know and personally will be checking into the Zoom calls when it happens, and they'll find out, what they're looking for, what they're gonna pick, and then boom, the next event's gonna happen, and it's gonna be all Trump's fault, of course. It's gonna be all America's fault, and all the liberal protesters are gonna have to jump up into arms, and then the neocons are gonna say that they can't support Trump because of this and that, and we'll have the establishment picking the next president again.
Right, like
So.
I wonder, would the Biden administration shut down the internet? Right, like if
Right.
if they created another George Floyd situation which that's what happened in France, right? There was a person who was killed by a police officer there, and that's what sparked these riots in France. So if something like that happens again here, which, mind you guys, there are many people of different races and colors that get shot by police, rightfully or wrongfully, or even something that was questionable. And this happens a lot in America. And, I've spoken out against police brutality. I think police brutality is very wrong, and I will speak out about it, and I continue to do so. But I also respect our men and women in blue, and I recognize that they do help keep our country safe, and I am very appreciative of those men and women. And I will stand behind them and back them in what they do, because I do believe that most police officers are good people. But I think that we do need to speak out about those who abuse the system. It's just like, many teachers are great teachers, right? But we need to speak out about the ones who are trying to indoctrinate the young kids with some gross LGBTQ ideology, or the ones that are straight up child predators, right? So there's nothing wrong with speaking out about those who try to abuse those positions and that authority role that they play in society. In fact, other officers should be very loud and vocal about those who abuse that role, because it dirties their name, right? It makes some people not like police officers. But, we have to think about how they hone in on a particular instance where usually it's a black male that was shot in a situation with a police officer where, one side could argue, well, it was justified because the way he maybe reached or ran at the officer or whatever. And then the other side can say, no, it wasn't justified. This is because of the color of his skin. And so you create this like schism where you have the left and the right fighting with each other over it.
Yep.
And then here comes the riots. Here comes the media's fully amplifying it. It basically, the social media psyop begins.
It's always the narrative, the counter narrative, and then the truth somewhere in the middle. The truth is, there is police brutality in America. The truth is, most cops are good. But then they take those truths and they separate them, and then they create sides out of it. Most cops are good. There are police brutalities. The police brutalities, sure, some of them are over race and stuff like that, but most of them are, I think personally, are over people not knowing their rights in America.
And people not knowing how to behave around police. Like, many people just think, oh, I should be able to put my hands in my pockets. There's nothing illegal about that. I should be able to reach under my seat or reach in my glove box or do these things that, isn't illegal. But they don't understand that for a police officer, when you do those
moves... Or I'm going to get out of my car. Yeah.
Right.
If you want to freak a police officer out, get out of your car when they pull you over. Yeah.
Right, because they don't know if you're going to come out with a gun and start shooting them. So people need to be trained about how to act when you get pulled over.
I think that should be the basis of high school. I think to get out of high school, you should literally be how your rights, how to deal with police. They should literally have the cops over, and the cops should literally tell the kids, these are your rights. This is what you should look for. And this is this is pretty much to graduate high school. I think that should be a curriculum.
Right.
100%.
And that's because a lot of police officers are shot and killed when they're doing stops. They are. And so they don't know if you're going to be the person that ends their life. So they have to treat every person like, is this a potential threat to my life, right? So take that into mind, take that in consideration, that a lot of times these officers are fearing for their own lives and safety. So anything you can do to help ease their minds by cooperating and showing your hands where they're at, things like that, or asking, is it okay if I get out of my car? Where should I put my hands? Things of that nature, I think helps calm them so that the whole thing can kind of be de-escalated. It's when people are already paranoid about the police and they start doing sketchy, shifty things that are going to heighten that police officer's fear that this person's going to pull a gun or pull a knife or do something. That's when you get really bad situations that happen.
But I also think it's a very minority of the cases too. Like, this is an everyday case. I think they try to show in the media, they play it over and over and over again, that it's happening every day, it's happening all the time. In reality, it's like these small minority of cases that this, stuff like this happens to, and then they blow it up over media.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they cherry pick these ones.
Especially George Floyd.
Right.
Especially, they used that as a weapon to take out Trump. We literally watched it in the Zoom calls. We really need to figure out a way to. We need an incident to happen or something to happen to basically split the vote for Trump. And
a trigger point event, right? They talk about these trigger point events. So it doesn't even necessarily have to mean like that any of it was faked or a false flag or something that was like fake with crisis actors. That's not necessarily needed. You just cherry pick which stories to amplify and then figure out which stories you want to de-amplify and suppress, and that's how they can control the narrative and push psyops and really kind of paint these pictures that they want to paint for the general mass to consume.
What do you think the next false flag is going to be, or the next psyop is going to be? What would be your guess for the next election?
I don't know.
What do you think? It could be anything. You think they're going to start the election a year early again, like COVID-19? Like, why haven't they started yet? Did they start about this time in 2020?
Yeah, they did. They started campaigning early.
They're not doing COVID anymore, right? Is that what it is? Like,
who knows? Who knows if they're going to have another pandemic or COVID's going to come back, or we're going to have some new version of COVID or something else, right? In order to try to implement some of the lenient election laws that they had, or these exceptions that they had during the COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, some areas were just all out not even adhering to election laws because of COVID, right? Just, it's a law, but oh well, right? COVID. So they used COVID in order to really change how our elections are ran. So I wouldn't be surprised if this time around something like that happens. That could go down. Who knows? We could see something like a martial law or internet shutdowns like we just are seeing in France. We're definitely going to see a lot of election interference on social media. We're already seeing that overall. We're seeing social media and big tech companies censoring people across platforms. They already have it down to a science where they can ghost ban, shadow ban people, and even shadow ban stories and hashtags to a T, right? We saw that with the Twitter files, where the Sunrise Zoom calls, you guys remember the Sunrise Zoom calls report that I put out in October of 2020 about the government employees conspiring with the radical left-wing groups, leaders of BLM and Shutdown DC and Sunrise Movement, and how these government bureaucrats, one of them was a DHS CISA employee, Cyber Infrastructure Security Agency employee, meaning the people who oversee our elections, right? Working at DHS. these people were literally committing subversion and plotting against the sitting president of the United States, talking about leaking government documents to the press, talking about using protest tactics in the workplace, bureaucratic slowdown, strategic sick days, making it so that they would basically stop papers and emails from going at certain times so they could strategically basically disrupt Trump's administration by any means. So the fact that that story was literally banned, or I guess, what would you say, during the Twitter files, it revealed that I think it was somewhere like 400 and something thousand hashtags for the Sunrise Zoom calls were removed from Twitter in order to prevent it from reaching its full viral potential on Twitter. That's what they do. So it's like if you saw like a rose bush in a garden, and maybe the rose bush, some of the flowers were white and some of the flowers were red. And let's say they want to completely eradicate any red flowers from blossoming. What they do is the second they see a bud, and they can even see that little inkling of any type of color coming through, they take out the clippers, and they literally just clip all the buds that they know are going to blossom into red flowers. And that's what they're doing on Twitter. So
yeah, catch and kill. Come here, come
Right.
here, come here. Collect your data, collect your data, collect your data. See who your followers are, and then catch you, attack your shadow, kill you. That's pretty much catch and kill operations. Yep.
right. So you think you're reaching people, but you're not.
You're in a box.
And at some point, you just have zero like views anymore on your tweets, despite having hundreds of thousands of Twitter followers. It's ridiculous. But somehow everyone's saying, oh, it's, Elon's saying, oh, we're about free speech. There's a free speech platform. Oh, is that why they put the chair of the WEF as the new CEO to replace Elon Musk? I was saying it's more like a fee speech platform, since they want to charge everyone for Twitter Blue, and if you don't have Twitter Blue, then you can only see so many posts. It's ridiculous.
I think it was just a big data block Elon bought for his AI system to run. Personally, that's what I think.
Right. It's all about data collection.
He needs the data for his AI to run, so that's what I think it was. He bought the data for everybody to collect the data to get his AI to run.
Right. And then also like the predictive analytics that they can do with that data to predict election outcomes. I mean, to predict how the public respond to psyops, different things that they try to run on the people. All that data is very valuable to those big tech companies, and they make a lot of money off of our data. And I think that is key. They are profiting off of our rights that we're just giving away. We're just throwing it away because people aren't reading the terms and conditions with these big tech companies, and they're just clicking next, next, next. And then lo and behold, these companies are spying on you. And we're not just talking about Twitter here. We're talking about big tech companies in general. Even your electronic devices that you have in your home, like these home smart devices. They literally can hear your voice through these devices. They can record your voice. There was an Amazon situation where with one of these Amazon home devices, a husband and wife were having a private conversation in their home, and the device just decided to record that conversation, part of that conversation, and send it to his boss. Tell me that's not creepy. And then they found out because the boss contacted him and was like, hey, I just got this and I don't think that it was supposed to be sent to me. You might want to unplug your devices in your house. And they freaked out. And so, yeah, these things are recording calls. But I think that it was kind of a fluke that it actually sent it to someone, right? But still, it's because they're studying us. Like we are literally like in one of those nature animal documentaries where they're like studying the animals, and they're studying us. And they're learning our behaviors. They're learning how we are. They're studying the American citizen in their natural habitat, in their home. What do they say behind closed doors? What do they talk about? What do they do? They're studying all of us in our natural environment so they can better figure out ways to control us. Isn't that creepy? Isn't it creepy?
It's really creepy. It's crazy how important privacy was to our forefathers, and it's crazy where privacy is now. Where you ask you ask some Americans, not real Americans, but some people, and they say, "Oh, I don't care if they spy on me. I don't care if they did that." Back in 1776, if you were spying on the Americans, that was fucking, your head was off. That was pretty much it. Privacy is our Third Amendment. If you or property privacy, pretty much
Fourth
the same
Amendment.
thing. Yeah, and yep.
Yeah, I mean, we have a right to privacy in the United States, and it's like we're even seeing a lot of liberals like, oh, who cares about our First Amendment too? Like, but they're not saying who cares about the first. They're saying, oh, it's okay to censor hate speech. That's fine. Yeah, things that are offensive should be censored. That's okay. Or, yeah, we shouldn't be able to have a gun because some knucklehead idiot out there decides to go shoot someone. We shouldn't be able to. We should all be sitting ducks so that we can just expect another person with a gun to keep us safe. Because, we can't, right? I recently saw a video of a guy, and he was like taking a sledgehammer and smashing his rifle, his shotgun. Like, I'm going to be one of the first to just say there's too many guns in America. And he just starts smashing his gun. And I'm sitting here thinking, so you're no longer going to be able to protect your family as a man against other men with guns. Because there's always going to be other people out there with guns. And then you're going to be relying on other men with guns to protect your family. To me, that just seems like it's demasculinating. Wouldn't you say, Chuck?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the man needs to provide and protect the woman in our country, and I think that that's very weird. It's like it's almost cuckoldish that they would rather have the government, like big, the government act as the father and act like the protector for their family. I think it's really beta. I think it's very cuckoldish. I think that that men need to start acting like men. I think that our forefathers would laugh at them. I think that they would literally laugh at them. Really, you're gonna give up your gun, you're gonna smash it, and then you're gonna expect the tyranny to, what are you gonna do when that tyranny comes for you? Are you gonna please don't hurt my family? Yeah.
Could you imagine like a colonialist man, head of a household, doing that? And just like, I'm just going to smash my gun, and I'm just going to expect that the British redcoats protect my family from the, if the Indians, if they come raid us, or from other bad men if they decide to rob us and pillage us. Like, you don't see that happening. Our forefathers would never have done that. And I think it's just part of the demasculination of men in America and how they've just attacked them to make them think that they don't have a right to protect their family. Like, it just, to me, that's crazy. It's wild. So yeah, like, you see people across the board with a lot of our different rights just throwing it away, not seeing value in it. And I think one of the biggest ones to me, though, like, just reeling it back in, is privacy. Like, we have that right to privacy, and we're just, here you go, all you tech companies. And so we were talking earlier today about QUX, because QUX is the only tech company out there that I know of that protects your privacy, that doesn't collect your data, that your data basically stays in your particular device. And overall, the network doesn't have data loggers to even keep it, right? So even if someone ever tried to hack or penetrate the network, which would be almost next to impossible, okay, there'd be nothing to get. There'd be nothing for them to get. So that really decentivizes that. Like, oh, try to accomplish the impossible only to get in, and there's nothing there to get. Kind of decentivizes that, doesn't it? But yeah, like, QUX is one of the only tech companies out there that I know of. Do you know of any other tech companies out there, Chuck, that have the level of privacy and security and that literally protect your privacy?
I'd say there's no competitors with big tech out there. There's no competitor with Google or Apple or Android that really could, has its own hardware, software, and clean kernel and no backdoors to China. There's no way to get into our box that way through the traditional backdoor. I think that today it's a good look at the freedom of tech. I think that QUX is the freedom of tech.
Right, like it's the at the head, it's the pinnacle of the movement for freedom in technology, right? And technology that's going to keep our rights, protect our rights, make us free.
We were talking about earlier, like, what if the British, like, literally, we live in the day and age where if any grassroots movement pops up, we're literally in the enemy's land. We're literally, imagine in 1776 if we tried to fight the British on British soil. The biggest empire, who's the biggest empire on Earth? Who's the strongest empire on Earth? It's big tech.
Right.
If we tried to go over to British soil, imagine what would have happened. No, we stayed on our turf. We stayed in the guerrilla warfare. They couldn't see us. We had our battle plans.
Right. So basically, I think the analogy here is like, so big tech, given that it is the establishment power stronghold that has been reigning over us with supremacy for quite some time now, that big tech is kind of like Britain. It's like, that country that ruled over everything. And QX is like the new America. It's the new digital frontier. America was the new frontier. Now QX is the new digital frontier. So what Chuck's basically talking about, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is that we won because we fought them in our own new digital frontier, not because we tried to fight them in their home country where they had absolute supremacy, where it wasn't even possible, right?
Well, I'll give you an example. Privacy was so important to America. All right, so there's lots of these conservative companies that act like they're on your side, and they're really collecting your data on the back end. And whether they're good or bad, that's something else. But at the end of the day, they're literally collecting your battle plans and giving them to big tech. Back in 1776, if that happened, that was treason. Benedict Arnold, what was Benedict Arnold sentenced to treason for before he ran? Giving away America's battle plans.
Right. So that would be like, if basically, how are we supposed to fight the redcoats, metaphorically, if every single thing we do can be watched by the redcoats?
We're getting ran in circles.
Right? Like,
we're literally getting ran in circles. If you look at the sophistication of their algorithms, their computers, the stuff that we're hopping on, they have computer algorithms 10 years out. They're predicting the future. And now they have the computer algorithms to go back into the future and stuff like that. If you have your kids on right now at 4 or 5 years old, by the time they grow up, they'll be able to go all the way back into the future of everything they've ever done on big tech. They'll be able to track everything they've ever done, and they'll watch the whole trials.
Right.
And some weird stuff.
And these massive database centers like have entire files with thousands of data set points and behavioral analytics on each person, right? What do you think they're doing with that? When like your kid's on their tablet or something and it's scanning their retinas and their responses and all these different things.
It's weird.
I mean, it's creepy, right? But they're building these like avatars that exist in this other simulation that they use to map out the whole world, so they can map out scenarios and situations and how everyone's going to respond. And so, like, back to that analogy, because I just love that. Like, if the forefathers had the redcoats, you know, able to spy on them and know every single thing they were doing, every single secret conversation they were having, every single battle plan they had with each other, would the forefathers have won the Revolutionary War? I don't think they would have. I think they would have lost. And like Chuck was saying, Benedict Arnold, you know, that's exactly what he was. He was a Benedict Arnold.
He sold the battle plans.
Right.
He literally gave the battle plans to the British. So Benedict Arnold himself, so he won these giant battles for America. George Washington said that Benedict Arnold was one of the best fighters in America. He won this, major battle in America. But what did he do at the end of the day? He sold our battle plans. So what did they do? They sentenced him to treason. He ran.
Right. And so there are actual conservatives who have done good things for the conservative patriot movement. But there they are, selling the battle plans, being Benedict Arnolds, literally selling the data of their people who trust them to big tech and these companies, and literally to third-party companies that then give it to the government. So that we can all be on watch lists, so we can all be monitored because you bought, survival foods or something. Because you're a prepper.
Literally, those that are a warning about Big Brother are selling to Big Brother, and it's sad.
It is really sad. It's super messed up. Super messed up.
And notice how they never provide alternative. There's never alternative. It's always like, oh man, that's so bad. They're watching us.
It's because people are making crap loads of money on it.
Yeah, it's the new currency. Big data is the new currency, and then they take it, they manipulate it, and they screw us all over. That's pretty much it.
So I think that's why you're not seeing as many of these big conservatives talking about QX, because then there's that elephant in the room of
who's taking big data.
Right, who's in bed with big data.
Who took money from big data?
Who doesn't want to let go of their big sugar data? You know, they're like they're all dependent on the big sugar data for that big data, and they want that money, and it's really disgusting, because
and
how are we supposed to win this fight?
It's the worst money too, because it's the money of our own. Like, it's the money of the people, the conservatives fighting, like the conservatives watching the content of the so-called patriots that they watch. It's their data, so it's literally the data of our the people with the people that are like us the most. It's their data that goes. Not that I don't wish every American had their privacy, but it's like, ooh.
And I think before it was kind of like, oh, well, this is just how it is, and there's nothing we can do about it. It's just how it is. So, everyone does it. So, we have to be able to survive and make money and blah, blah, blah. Whatever justification they use, it's all bullshit. And at the end of the day, now QUX really makes it so that there's no excuse, because everyone can come into QUX and literally not be spied on, not be tracked, know that their private messages are actually private and encrypted and secure. They can engage in encrypted transactions, tokenized transactions with QX's own payment processor, which is now live, by the way.
Built by the people.
Right, built by the people.
Guys.
And so we already have thousands of people inside QX. We had a lot of test pilots, and then people, that got expanded.
And thank you guys for your support. Without you guys, it would have never happened.
Exactly.
You guys, literally, we gave you guys this dream Millie had 4 years ago. 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 4 ye this dream of freedom and freedom from tyranny and big tech, and you guys basically said, all right, here you go, here's the money to build that. Well, guess what? We built it. It's here.
Exactly. And what's crazy to me is like what QX has accomplished with a fraction of the budget that these other big tech companies or, you know, corporate giants deal with. What QX has accomplished with like what, $500,000 is insane. Okay? And mind you guys, I just want to say, I have not profited a single penny from QX or any of the money that's went into QX. Not a single penny. Gavin hasn't profited a single penny. Every single penny that comes from sales, from people buying these boxes, it literally has been going towards the programmers, the developers, the continued growth and expansion of QX, inventory, and literally getting boxes to people who need them. Okay, that's literally everything, all that has gone into building out QX to what you see today. And so I know there's been a lot of people who initially they got boxes and maybe they were being patient, they were waiting. I just want to say, guys, turn your boxes on. It's time to turn them on because QX is literally up and running. Tons of content on there, streaming. Lots of stuff for you to do on there. You could start building your stores on there. You can literally build a store on QX. And here's the best part, Chuck. So what's amazing to me is how QX actually offers something to small businesses and merchants that sell in like e-commerce stores and online stores that's incredible. One, you don't have to pay to be in the QX e-commerce store. It's no fee, right? Like no cost to have the e-commerce store. Two, your data isn't being sold or collected by QX. So what's amazing about this is going to destroy these predatory companies like Amazon that have literally just been robbing small business owners. I mean, literally, they've been being sued over it. Other stores, like, you know, we had one test pilot who really, she told an amazing story about how she makes all these home decor items on Etsy, and they're really fashionable and really unique. Come to find out, her and a bunch of the other people on Etsy started to realize that, wait a second, all of a sudden Walmart and Target and all these other companies are selling their same or similar products for cheaper, right? Well, I guess that can happen if, you know, data is being shared or sold to third-party companies, and those companies can see, oh, look how well this product's trending. Look at the trajectory. Our predictive analytics say that this product's going to sell and make all this money and these, you know, this many people. So let's go ahead and have it cheaply mass-produced in China, and we'll undercut the American small business owners. So that's the type of predatory stuff that's happening on some of these online e-commerce stores. But also, Amazon was caught basically doing something where, you know, some of their merchants in their stores, they could see how well they were doing and trending. They would then just go directly to the source or to China, and they would have it made cheaply, and then they would sell it on Amazon themselves, and then they would rig the search results so that their stuff was always at the top and shove these other products down, so that they could kind of rig it as well, so that at the end of the day they can try to take out some of these merchants. So it's really shady what goes on, and that's because of the data collection. Whereas on QUX,
no backdoors to China.
No, none of that, and nobody's data is going to anyone but that small business owner is the only person who's going to see their, or just business owner, that merchant.
The necessary
They're
data.
going to be seeing their own necessary data that they see,
You know,
when they're
your
getting
address,
those
your
those orders. They're going to be getting what shipping address to ship it to, things of that nature. So they're going to be the only ones who have access to their customers' information that their customers share with them.
They're not going to know what conversation you had with your grandma about how she might need this product, and you're not going to get a pop-up of, oh, these are 5 similar products of what you need, or you know, stuff like that.
I know, is that so creepy?
It's weird.
It's so creepy. Like, I'll be sitting there, and this has happened so many times, like sitting there talking about chocolate or something, like, man, I really wish I had some chocolate, da da da. And then next thing you know, like, I look in Facebook feed or in my social media feed, and it's advertising some chocolate, or even something like more specific. It will do that with, right? And that's because it's like a known fact now that they do listen to what we're saying. That stuff gets transcribed and it goes into these AI systems, these algorithms, and they literally target you with smart ad technology, which was the same smart technology that they used to target people in the Middle East with smart bombs. They're targeting us with smart advertisements.
I'll tell you a story I had. Just the other week, I was buying an airline ticket, right, to see my best friend, right, for his 30th birthday. So I'm looking up the airplane tickets, and his wife messaged me back as a surprise party and goes, I told her I'm gonna come indefinitely, and the second I sent that, the airplane ticket went up $200. $200. The second I sent that, Facebook, American Airlines went up $200.
Jeez.
What did I do? I reset my data on my iPhone. I deleted, I reset the analytics on my iPhone. I went on a different website, and the price went down about halfway. Like, it went down halfway. But yeah, it's scary, man. It's scary. You're like, I need this. The AI hears you. Boom, price goal.
Price gouge. Yeah,
price gouge. It's
Why
scary.
not take advantage, right? Like, they're thinking, oh yeah, we know this person needs this.
I made a commitment to my best friend. Like, I might have to, I'd pay, $2,000 for it, and the AI knows that.
Wow. Yeah, it's pretty shady, and they really do try to hack our psychology. And that's really what Shadowgate was a large part about, is talking about the psyops, hacking the shadow, and how they literally can target people with these psyops on social media, because they can have bots on there with anonymity to target people with these bots on social media. And that's the thing, like, a lot of these platforms, they can't handle, they have these bot problems. Like, even Twitter right now has bot problems that they're dealing with, and they're trying to figure out a way, because all these bots are being used to, like, scrape data mining. So not only was it Twitter having the data, it's other third parties now scraping and data mining on Twitter as well. So it's just a data frenzy. But yeah, like, there's a serious bot problem, and hey, there's no bots in QX. QX is a bot-free zone. It's also a data collection free zone, right? Like that's the real issue, I think, with the establishment, with the intelligence agencies, is, oh wait, they kind of found that loophole through some of these big tech companies, right? So think of it this way. Our government has a lot of restraints on surveilling the American population, okay? A lot. Because we have rights, right? So this is how they do it. They get, these third-party companies, these private companies or corporations. They go and they give you really cool trinkets and electronic devices with all the bells and whistles. And then your average consumer sees the fine print in the terms and conditions, which is very, very long, and no one wants to sit there and read all that. So they just click next, 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 and they set up their device, and then they start using their device, and they get to have all the trinkets and all the fun, right? But see, what they do is they use those private companies or corporations to then, here comes the government trying to buy the data, right? Or third-party companies that contract with the government agencies buy it, right? Which we also talked about at Shadowgate. People who, whistleblowers who worked for some of these third-party agencies. So it's really shady what goes on, and it's even down to a science where they actually have software systems that are just built off all the data mining, to where then the government can just contract with the software And now you've got police officers rolling around with predictive analytics in their vehicle to where when they pull somebody over, they scan their license plate and it tells them whether that driver is high risk or medium risk, low risk. Literally, they have this in some cities. They also have the software and these AI that are telling judges whether or not to let somebody out on a bond, on a PR bond, or let somebody out at all on a bond. Because of the predictive analytics. Where's all that data coming from? Right? So the judge might not necessarily be seeing all the data that was used to make that decision on you. They're just seeing, oh, this is what it's saying. It's saying that this person's not likely to show up for the court date. What are the parameters? We already see how they've warped ChatGPT and they've warped some of these other things with this woke mindset. What if the parameters for somebody being a high risk is that they're conservative? That's a real problem, isn't it? Yeah, it's a real problem.
And speaking of that, big risks with conservatives and banks and stuff like that, Quix is its own payment processor now.
Yeah.
So just like they canceled many people for being high risks, conservatives, just like they took money from the truck, or they've took money from big prominent conservatives. They took money from my sister. They've locked it up. They've threatened us with it. They've almost jacked it all. They gave us what we needed. They almost took $100,000. They gave us $50,000 back. It's like this big giant fight with these big transaction institutes. So Quix is its new is its own pretty much its own bank. It's its own payment processor.
Yeah, it is its own payment processor. Literally, like a straight. It's got the ACH payment rails. It's its own payment processor. It literally makes it so that people don't even have to use Visa or MasterCard inside the QX network. I mean, it's literally like bank-to-bank transactions with a token, so everything's encrypted and no actual banking or personal, like, banking information is actually being exchanged in the transaction because it's a token. So it's really neat how that all happens, but the reason why QX built out the payment processor was because cancel culture is getting worse and worse, and one of the main things we're seeing with cancel culture is debanking. And so, yeah, like Chuck was just saying, I actually was canceled from PayPal and Venmo for really no reason. New York Times did a hit piece on me saying extremists find financial lifeline on social media platforms, and it was talking about how me, Tori Says, and a couple others were still able to exist on Twitch, and we had monetization on Twitch, and it was talking about how at the time that I had PayPal on my website and people were able to donate to me on PayPal, which really made a big difference for me funding my operation and me funding my reporting, right? And then they just cut that off right after that. Like literally it was like the next day or so, boom, gone, right? So this is their way of like signaling, look, we want you to do this. Look, we want to nudge you to cancel this person. And then they cancel you. And then what do you do when you've been canceled? Do you know how many times I've had people just in day-to-day life interacting or engaging, like, oh, do I can pay you in PayPal. Do you take PayPal? And it's like, no, I don't have PayPal. What about Venmo? Do you take Venmo? Right? No, I don't have Venmo. And there's people I know, conservatives, who've been canceled from even more payment processing or more different banking apps or even banks. So what we realized was we need to actually create something of our own so that they can't try to take that from us. Down to the point where we don't even want to have to mess around with being reliable on Visa and MasterCard because, we know what Visa and MasterCard started to do with, tracking and registering gun sales and all these other things and flagging them, right? None of that, right? Nowhere does it say in the laws of this country that we have to forfeit our right to privacy in this country. It doesn't say that. But we're all just doing it because we've become so accustomed to doing it because that's what has been set up in front of us, right? And I think it's large in part been out of ignorance on our own part. Like, I remember the point in time where I didn't know any of this, right? I didn't know that I was being spied on my devices. I didn't know any of that. I didn't know that they were creating social credit scores and AI was studying me. And, you know, we've put ourselves out there on the World Wide Web, the big open web. And who knows what all of those pictures that we've put up and all that stuff is going to do with these new AI.
Or your children's. The
right.
pictures your children's put up.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And it sounds crazy, but they literally already have, like, AI porn generators. Like, I'm not even kidding you. And some girls or whatever have been bullied where, like, messed up people will, like, put their face in the AI porn generator and then share the photos all around. And then your average person has no clue that that's just an AI picture and not real. And it, you know, just messes with people's credibility, or it you know, tries to, it causes people emotional harm when that happens to them. So who knows what we've all opened ourselves up to. That just seems to be like the tip of the iceberg.
Not only that, it's like they use psychological ops to manipulate your children to get into weird shit.
Right.
Like, literally, like, you know, my nephew, or, you know, her son will, like, you know, try to watch stuff because their entire generation's addicted to this kind of stuff. And he'll go on there and there'll be some LGBTQ ad and some weird stuff on YouTube and stuff like that. So you never know what they're going to manipulate them into. And then there's, like, Clear Force and weird stuff like that. And they might target your children and they might get them into a whole heck of weird stuff. Like, you never know. Like, it's that easy. They have AI that's trained by psychologists. Elon Musk, the savior, Elon Musk, he's investing all this money into GDP. Is that what it is?
ChatGPT, yeah.
Yep. And it's some weird stuff. And yeah. Yeah,
it is. It's super creepy. Super creepy. Super creepy. And that's one of the reasons why, like, you know, me having kids as a mom myself, a lot of concerns for parents are addressed in Key UX.
It's like what George Washington says, not for you, but your children's children.
Exactly.
Do this for your children. You might be like, oh, I'm not going to fall for the psyop. Well, you know, let's see if Pinocchio will.
Right.
Geppetto. Let him into the world, and let's see if the fox can trick him. So.
Right. Let's see if your kids or your grandkids cannot fall for the psyop. Right.
Yeah, because it's going to be more sophisticated. Every year you wait to get on a new technology to a new dimension, you're going to see it's going to get more and more weird. They're going to put more and more money. You're going to keep spending that $1,000 for an iPhone instead of putting the money into Quicks and spending a couple $100 on a Quicks phone in the next couple years, or you know, a couple $100 on a QUX box. You're going to see it's going to keep getting weirder and weirder and weirder.
Yeah. I think they already started having that where, like, they'll just rent the phones to you and then they want the phones back, right?
Can you imagine the technology in 20 years, what they're going to be able to do?
It's like, I wonder why they want the phone back. It couldn't be to get all your data, could it? I mean, any little remaining part of it that wasn't fully harvested is probably on that phone. Even if you delete everything, they can get that stuff.
I'm sure in the next 20 years, kids won't know the internet from reality. The way stuff's going, the way AI is going, the way that this weird...
the deep fakes.
Yeah, the deep fake. I'm sure in the next 20 years, the kids will not know the difference between their phone and reality.
What terrifies me is, like, if there comes a point in time where it is, like you're saying, indistinguishable between what is true and what isn't.
Like
where
those weird
literally,
VRs.
like, all of a sudden, all this information on these corrupt people in the government, or even like the maybe Epstein's secret videos come out with all these politicians and all these power people, like, doing these horrific things, right? If it comes out at a point in time where deep fakes are so rampant because of AI, like, what if a bunch of people don't even believe it's real? Like, what if people are like, oh, that's not real, because there's so many deep fakes floating around out there. So, yeah, that is, it's the fog of war.
I want to talk about something about that, too, because it's weird. Because people would be like, okay, let's let these private companies spy on people. You know, let's let them spy on people because maybe they'll catch these people doing something bad. Yeah, but they're private companies, and a lot of the time they don't tell you. And a lot of the times, that just ends up being your senator.
And then he just blackmailed
And now
them.
he's just compromised. And you never know because
Right.
it's some private company that will never tell you. We have no shoring. Like, literally, they could literally compromise whoever they want. Like, they'll find some dude that did something bad. They'll compromise them and say, okay, you're running for Senate now.
It was like that awkward moment at that hearing on social media and big tech when our representatives were grilling Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, and they're questioning him, and basically they're like, so this phone I have right here, can you see exactly where I am in this building? All this thing, and Sundar's just like I cannot confirm or deny. I can't say, or it depends on the settings in the phone. Like they totally try to like skirt around the answer.
Can you play that that clip from Joe Biden? Okay.
Which one from Joe Biden?
What did he say? What did he say, Gavin? He said, I can't think right now. He said, the secrets of, what is it?
He said,
yeah, there you go. Yeah, I probably gave an accurate, I probably gave an accurate assessment of what he said.
He said it.
It's probably a real quote. That's
well,
probably
anyway.
a real quote. That was the quote.
He said, well, anyway.
All right.
Where am I?
He said something.
Well, anyway.
He said something about basically selling government secrets.
Oh!
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, okay.
He's just like out there out of the middle of nowhere
Yes.
like, I gave away government secret. I've been selling government secrets. Like,
that's when they were doing that press conference with like all the like heads of like India.
Yeah.
And they're all sitting around the table,
Right,
and
yeah.
Joe Biden just like, talking about selling all the America's secrets and all these other things to foreign adversaries.
Yeah,
It's like,
I just give away I just sell American secrets, and everybody's like,
they're like, this
Yeah.
is really awkward. Like
there's
big
a couple people smiling, and the India guys
wasn't
like,
Sundar Pichai in there? I think he was in that meeting. But yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sorry, I can't get off the fact that you said
I did a direct Joe Biden quote.
Right. I can't get over that.
What did Joe Biden say?
He said, what? He said, what was I about to say? Truman and national pressure. What was I about to say? Well, anyway. Hairs that glistened in the sunlight.
Yeah.
Like hairs that glisten in the sunlight. Right? Joe Biden, man, I swear, some of his gaffes
We need to get a little
are
clip.
hilarious. Where he's like, the one where he's walking, and you could tell, they wanted him to like lead a blind man, right? Did you see that one, Jack?
No, I didn't.
Where they wanted him to lead a blind man up onto the stage.
No.
And you could tell like he's they got him holding the blind man or whatever, holding his arm, and the blind man's got the cane and the glasses and everything. And Joe Biden's walking, but like he doesn't know where he is, and basically the blind man is leading Joe Biden up on the stage.
Nice. That's great. I gotta see
And
that.
he's walking and he's all looking around all confused.
Oh, man.
And then all of a sudden here comes one of the like Secret Service or handlers or whatever and like grabs the blind guy from Joe Biden. Like, here, I'll walk you, blind man. Like, let's kind of, stop this awkward situation. And then Joe Biden says and looks around and goes, where am I?
Isn't that a saying, like, the blind leading the blind?
Yeah, the blind leading the blind. Yeah, there's...
Joe Biden is the blind. The blind leading the blind.
Yes, it's the blind leading the blind, and that is a very true statement. And it is terrifying that man supposedly has the nuclear codes for America. I can't imagine if we ever did go into a nuclear war situation, they'd be like...
You know what it's called?
What is it?
It's Biden encryption.
Biden encryption!
Oh, nice! Dang, I wish we had that tech. There
Yeah,
you go.
let's
Show me
name it.
Yeah.
Biden encryption. 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, 6, 1, 2. They're like, what are the codes, Mr. President?
right.
We need the codes. He's like,
A nuke
huh?
goes off.
What? Are we playing bingo? What are the codes, Mr. President? We need them. Nukes are flying in the air. Oh, I don't know. Where am I?
Yep.
Well, anyway. Well, not anyway, Joe Biden. Okay, so back on track here. Yeah, I mean, in the Google hearing, just the fact that they were talking about, like, you know, the representatives, this awkward moment where they were realizing that these big tech companies like Google completely have access in their devices, down to the point where they know where that phone is, what level of a building, what room in a building, the ambient air temperature inside the room you're sitting, the sounds, the audio, everything that's going on in that room, these phones are picking up on and able to send and report back to Google.
Yeah, and it's weird because they're picking up the sounds, and who knows what they're gonna do with future tech and those sounds. Like, it's getting more sophisticated and sophisticated. You'll never know, you know, what they could do with those sounds.
Yeah,
It's
so
the
like,
weirdest stuff.
so they know if Hunter Biden is driving 179 miles per hour on the freeway, high on crack, on his way to Vegas to go meet up with some prostitutes. They know, right? And then they could use that to, like, let's say, blackmail a president or blackmail a representative or a senator. You know, oh, Representative so-and-so was meeting up at a motel with some prostitutes. They know.
Yep, the richest person in the world owns all the data and all the blackmail. That's pretty much it. The person that owns everything owns all the rich people because they own all the data and all the blackmail.
On all the representatives. And good luck any of these kids making it to adulthood and then making it to becoming one of these representatives or senators in the future with all these devices and phones around them.
And they're all talking to friends,
Right.
and they're all talking to stuff. And all it takes is them to just do some computer algorithm 50 years from now. And they say, oh, you ran for office. Oh, you bought some illegal drug when you were 15 years old or from your friend or some shit. Oh, felony. Boom.
Right. And like how they were like whipping up stuff about Roy Moore from like, oh, look, there was a yearbook signing. You know, he signed a yearbook, and that's evidence. But we're seeing with like cancel culture getting worse and worse that they're fully like, they're weaponizing all that information they're collecting, and then they're figuring out ways to make it so it has even more impact by making cancel culture worse, in that there's all this like cultural stuff going on that amplifies something that might be little into like a really big deal.
And it's not going to be illegal to do illegal things because they've already shown us that anybody that's in the in crowd could do illegal things. Like, look at freaking Joe Biden's son in the White House with the cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be illegal to be against their narrative. That's what it's going to be. And they're going to have all the cards to pull if someone steps out.
Yeah, I think you're right, because we're already starting to see some of that. Like, we're already starting to see the beginnings of that, where people are just completely gone after, and then they go after you in the judicial system with BS crimes. They can indict a ham sandwich, and that just takes you for a ride, takes you for a loop. And then what they do also is they find people around you and they try to compromise them and then get them, because, you know, this is what we've seen happen with Steve Bannon. We're seeing this happen with Trump. We're seeing this happen with a bunch of people. They go after the people on the outer edge, on the periphery, compromise them. Those people don't have the money or the funds usually in order to hire really good legal defense, or maybe they're, you know, even initially when they do, they start to run out of money over time because they drag their feet throughout the, you know, the courts drag their feet and postpone, and things go longer and more expensive than initially what they thought it was going to be. And then what happens is, because these people don't even have the ability to fight it financially, many of them take plea deals. And then they give testimony against the person. And some people give false testimony against the person. And yeah, you better believe some of the off-the-record conversations I've had. Not even
Yeah,
gonna
they
say.
bankrupt them.
Well, did you hear?
I mean, it's
No,
bad.
did you guys hear
Hear what?
about the secret witness and the new grand jury going on with Trump?
No.
No.
Yeah, they got a ham sandwich apparently to testify against Trump. This ham sandwich is claiming that it's the food article that was actually thrown up against the wall in the Situation Room when Trump was pissed that he couldn't get his administration to fully carry out the coup. So the ham sandwich is going to testify because it heard the whole thing.
There you go. So there you have it, right? So I'm guessing that was a joke about the ham sandwich.
No, sorry.
Only if you think finding cocaine in the White House and it couldn't possibly be Hunter Biden's is a joke.
Maybe we need to get a ham sandwich in here right now. Maybe someone needs to.
Maybe we should get it in here and interrogate it.
Yeah.
Maybe even torture it.
Right. We need to get a ham sandwich.
I'm sorry, not torture. Enhanced. What's it called?
Enhanced interrogations.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
We'll just tell the
We'll
ham
just drip water
sandwich
on
that if it doesn't agree to do a false statement, it's going to spend $1 million in legal expenses and still might even lose and spend 30 years in prison. Or it could just make up this lie about this person and walk away free. Right? So that's pretty much what they do, guys. So at that point, they have a major incentive to just do that. And then that's how they go after the people that they want. And this is, to me, it seems like, obviously, it's coercing people. I don't even think that should be legal in the United States. Because to me, it just seems like it's a coerced false testimony. It's a coerced statement. Because the person is being threatened with jail time, right? So it's coerced. So yeah, like totally sketchy. Not a good thing. This is what they're doing in our country, weaponizing the justice system, going after us all. So it's a whole hot mess. It's a whole hot mess. Chuck.
Oh yeah, you look at Donald Trump, man. They just keep hitting him. I think they have a computer algorithm that says how long will it take to bankrupt Donald Trump. I think that's all what it's about. We almost got bankrupted.
Right?
Us personally, we almost got bankrupted. They thought they could hit us with these charges and just freaking be in jail because we couldn't pay for the lawyers. And then once we paid for the lawyers, they go, oh yeah, there's no evidence. There's nothing at all. But
yeah.
If there's any clip that I should play, it's that one clip. And you guys know which one I'm talking about.
Right. Well, another day we'll get into all that stuff. But today's 4th of July, Independence Day, which it might be 5th of July by now in where we're out in the East Coast. But for those of you guys probably on the West Coast, it's probably still 4th of July. But for Independence Day, we just wanted to come on here and have a fun time talking about things that we're concerned about with our country, but then also thanking the vets, thanking our forefathers for what they've done for us and what they've given for us. And I felt like earlier
America.
we were having some really good conversations about our forefathers and just how grateful we are for what they've done, and just kind of reimagining, like how Chuck was saying earlier, reimagining our current situation with what our forefathers were going through.
Think about today and think, what would my forefathers do? What would George Washington do? What would Thomas Jefferson do? That's what you should do on the 4th of July. What would Benjamin Franklin do? What would my forefathers do?
I think our forefathers would get behind KUX. I'm just going to
I
say
know
that.
what I'd like
I
to
think
do.
they would, because they'd be like, this is how Paul Revere gets his messages out, right? This is how we communicate our blueprints and our battle plans. This is how we talk to each other. This is how we create a new frontier where no longer will the redcoats have complete control and be able to reign over us like dictators. This is the beginning.
Yeah, we need Paul Revere.
Right here.
That's pretty much it.
Right.
All right.
Pioneers. Be a pioneer.
So here's what's going on. There's some asshole troll that I want to give out the Quicks number to and have him call in and say the shit he's saying about QX over the air, so that I can have an out with this
You
guy.
wanna
Because
destroy
he's
him?
sitting here talking mad shit.
Go for
And
it.
it's like, here, bro, you want to talk shit?
Do
Call
it,
my
Gavin.
fucking phone. We can talk right now. So here, hold it up to the mic. Go ahead and call me, bro. The number's 330-557.
Yeah, let's have it out with a troll.
2230. You want to sit there and talk
Let's go.
shit and make up a bunch of lies about my company? You can talk to the president directly
call him,
right
dude.
now.
This ain't
So
fucking
call
the
in,
president.
dude.
This ain't some
Let's hear it.
social media
Call
company.
me.
Come on, man.
330-557-2230.
Do you have
Let's
a
see if
pan
you
on the
actually
phone?
have
Do
balls.
you have a pan on the phone?
Or if you just sit there and
Let's
troll.
see.
And,
Yeah,
and
call
by
us
the
up.
way,
Get a call?
Let's see if this
since we're gonna make this troll famous, his name is
the red
Are you
coat
ready?
troll.
Con Artist.
Okay, great.
So let's have
Con
Con
Art-
Artist call in. Come on,
Come on, Con Artist.
He also says we're not live right now.
Con
so this
Artist,
is one
the
way you
red
can prove we're
coat.
live.
Con artist, the red coat. I'm
Come on,
calling him a
con
red
artist.
coat.
330-557-2230. And at that fact,
Yeah,
if anybody
yep.
wants to call in, call in.
Yeah,
We could do a live phone chat.
right. I think we can. I think
Yeah,
we
we can.
actually. I think we could actually plug it in right
Now
here
just hold it up
even
to
and
the
have
mic.
good.
It's the easiest
Okay, I'll
way
just
to
hold it
do
up.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's and look, here's the thing, Gavin. There are bot accounts. So who knows if this is even a real person? Like, who knows if this is not a bot?
This
Or
is
who
how
they
you
say they
prove-
are.
See,
Right?
this
yeah.
is how you prove it's
Yeah.
a bot.
Like,
Come on, Con
is it a
Artist.
bot or a real
330.
troll? Or is it some liberal that's mad because they want to be able to censor conservatives? Because boy oh boy, the leftist hit pieces on QUX when it first came out. Do you guys
He
remember?
says, you take personally? Why? Well, you're sitting there saying QUX is a VPN. It's not. All kinds of other shit. Saying somehow that we have backdoors into our product straight to China. You'll sit there and talk all this shit, dude.
Bullshit, yeah.
But you won't call the phone number?
Guy doesn't even
on,
know what he's
con
talking
artist.
about. And he's probably
330
texting this from an actual
557.
device.
Right, an iPhone.
2230.
He's probably
Come on,
calling. He's
Con
probably
Artist.
texting
I'll
this
even
from
put
an
the number in
iPhone. Like,
chat.
oh yeah, you probably have a backdoor to China.
And
All
the
right.
CCP's all reading it. Like,
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, good job, buddy.
Are
yeah,
you texting it from your CCP phone?
Yeah,
Call us on your CCP phone,
yeah.
right? That's hilarious. Yeah, and the guy's probably not going to call because it's probably a troll.
They
No,
talk all
exactly.
this shit, man. But where's your alternative? Where's your alternative to
Yeah.
big tech?
Right. Where's your alternative? What are you doing? Nothing. That's right. You're just a stupid troll on the internet. So, a red coat troll, mind you, that doesn't even want to call in. So, it's making me think that it's just a bot.
He
So-
got botted out.
He's either a bot or someone that got botted out.
Well, what's his name?
Right.
Con Artist.
Con Artist, please donate to QUX. We need your support more than ever. Con Artist.
We need your help, con artists.
Yes, more than anything in the world. If you think we're a VPN, then fine, but you need to donate for your tech freedom. We are our own hardware, software, clean kernel with no backdoor to China, buddy. But I'd love to hear your tech device to save America. I'd love to hear your other alternative that doesn't collect data.
Yeah.
That'd be great. You could call in anytime you want for that. But,
yeah, we're waiting for your call, con artist.
other
We
than
need
that,
your
guys,
help, con artist.
Yeah. Other than that, we really need your help, guys. We've been putting our lives into this. We've been putting our money into this, time into this. We haven't made anything off of it. We've just literally been pouring our money in. We've been like literally just working so hard to keep Quicks afloat, and everybody donated that money. And if you can't donate money and you can't buy anything else, or you already bought a Quicks box, we need your help spreading the word to other Quicks users and people that haven't heard about Quicks.
And if you guys are somebody who got your box and maybe you didn't turn it on yet, turn it on. There's stuff on there to watch. I know Rudy Giuliani streams his show every day, like Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Pete Santilli does his show on there, like 7 to 9. Ivan Rakelin's now just starting to stream his show. Worldview Weekend, Lindell TV. I'm on there. I'm going to be starting my podcast up where I'm going to be streaming exclusively on QUX as well. I'll be announcing the time pretty soon when I kind of lock in a good time, but I'm going to be starting kind of more of a podcast format, kind of like what you're seeing here today. So if you're liking this format, I'm going to be doing this format. So I'll probably, for this, the month of July, I'll probably be doing a little bit more of them on my social media platforms just to kind of spread the word and kind of introduce people and let people know I'm doing them. And then really I'm just going to start doing them only exclusively on QUX. So that should give you guys some time. Order your boxes. If you guys want to start to see my podcast regularly, there's going to be a very, soon point in time where that's the only place you're going to be able to find me, because I'm sick and tired of YouTube. I'm sick and tired of being demonetized. I'm sick and tired of having to censor what the hell I want to say on those platforms with fear of being retaliated against by these platforms, by being banned or having copyright strikes or content violation strikes, being told my content's harmful because I have different opinions or because I have a conservative opinion, not a freaking progressive, liberal, woke opinion. I'm tired of having to censor what I want to talk about on those platforms. And I think that large in part, I resent YouTube. I resent some of these platforms because during the pandemic, I wanted to be screaming from the rooftops about some of the information I knew. And I did say enough. Like I did make sure I publicly made statements letting people know about things. But I wanted to be screaming it. I wanted to be sharing all kinds of information, getting into the nitty gritty. But if you remember during that time period, people were being banned for that. I got my entire channel demonetized for that. Because I dared to talk about things that now have been vindicated as true. Meaning, what got my channel demonetized? Well, because I was talking about that the vaccine mandates were coming, right? That they were going to be mandating it. And I was talking about that these lockdowns were going to be longer than 2 weeks in what they were saying. Longer than just a couple weeks. That it was going to be potentially even a year, right? That's what I was talking about at the time, which, remember, the mainstream media was saying, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. That's not true, right? But that's what got my account demonetized, and they still have never allowed it to be remonetized, right? So I'm tired of being on a platform that, mind you, they also, sometimes you actually will see an ad on one of my YouTube channels. And you know why you see that? Because they allow companies that are literally out of like Brazil and other sometimes third world countries to put false copyright strikes on my content and then allow that company to monetize my YouTube channel, my YouTube video. So some other third-party company in like Brazil or some other country is literally running ads on my video and getting paid for my video. And I'm not getting a damn dime for my own content. That's the stuff I'm dealing with on these platforms. So, I've been seeing a lot of people commenting a lot lately saying, Millie, where are you? Millie, we miss you. Millie, we want to see your content. We really miss your show, your podcast, your videos. Where are you? Well, can you blame me for not wanting to be on YouTube anymore? Like, is this really the place where we want to have our discussions and our chats? Is this the place where, you guys want me to be talking to you on? A place where I have to feel like I need to self-censor what I'm saying to you? Or would you rather hear exactly what I want to say and the information I want to share and could educate you on? If you want to be educated on the information that I'm actually having to hold back from telling you on this platform, go on QUX and you can watch me on there live. Just like people are watching Pete Santilli live every night and Rudy Giuliani live every night, right? Which I think a lot of people probably aren't live right now because I don't know, what time is it? Oh, 1:27 Eastern time. So a lot of people probably aren't live right now. But, and mind you guys, this is the Portal universe. Okay, so look, there I am, Streamlist right now, right? Okay, so this is going to be kind of weird because you're going to be
right now.
hearing the audio feed,
Okay,
so let
so
me
this is
mute
gonna
it.
be
He's
kinda
gonna do a
weird
mirror
'cause
thing where
Okay, I muted it so we don't have to hear the audio relay. But literally, like, here I am on the TV on QUX, and people who have their QX boxes are watching me if they're up right now.
and if you're an influencer and streamer and you want to get on QX, hit us up. Call QX.
Yeah.
And you could get on. This is the free internet. We don't ban people unless it's illegal. So hop on here. If if it's you might get a rating or something if it's stuff that children shouldn't be seeing and stuff like that. But you are not gonna get banned. Millie was banned off of a lot of stuff, and if she wasn't banned, she got hit with strikes. Millie was even banned off of banned.video.
Right.
So if someone gets banned off banned.video, you got some problems there. So
Right.
and then you look at these alternatives, and a lot of them, look at them, they're mostly owned by BlackRock. And we're actually even talking to some listeners and some great supporters about creating a smaller,
like a Patriot investment.
yeah, smaller investment group. So if you would be interested in investing in your freedom, in your technological freedom in America, and to your kids, not for you but your children's children,
You could call that number.
you
call
can call
the-
that number. Call us.
What is the number, Gavin? Give it out.
You got questions, ideas?
Go ahead and give us a call at 330-557-2230.
Look at See? Oh,
Yeah,
that-
look,
yeah.
you guys can watch it.
Yeah.
Now we can
We're
all
watching
get completely
ourselves.
Watch
screwed up.
us on us. There you go.
That's funny.
So what I find interesting is con artist has asked some questions, even though he's not doesn't have,
Calling.
he's got
The
the
heck?
balls to talk shit, but he doesn't have the balls to pick up a phone and
I'm
call.
convinced it's a bot
right?
at this point.
He's probably sad. 'cause
It's
he can't
probably a
call.
bot.
So here's what he wants
Some
to know.
MIC contractor.
So here's
with
what he
a-
wants to know. So what's QUX plan on social credit system?
Fuck the
Well,
social
here's the
credit
irony
system.
of it,
What do you
right?
mean? That's the plan. Screw them. What do you mean? So, what's our plan on the no social credit system?
Yeah, the plan is to have a system, our own private intranet with all of our electronics in a private place where all that information that's being used to build the social credit score,
Can't get to it.
QX is going to be a black hole, right? Oh, look at that. We got a call. Maybe it's this guy. Let's see. Let me answer first so I don't just put some random person on
right.
blast. Hello? Who is this? Are you the person that's been
He's a
trolling
con
on
artist.
YouTube?
We'll just
Are you con
give us a-
artist?
Are you
Yeah.
okay?
I just
Did
put-
you want to be on air right now? Because we're on air right now. Okay. All right.
Perfect.
All right. So he says he's not the troll.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Hello. So why are you calling in today?
I just wanted to call in and let you know that I wanted to thank you for doing what you do on YouTube and Twitch and everything. I actually work at a nursing home as a housekeeper. And back in 2020, when you said about the mask mandates and the passports and all that stuff, I actually told people at my work about all of that. And they laughed in my face, told me I was a conspiracy theorist, and that's never going to happen. It wasn't true. And once you know, a couple months later, that's when all that stuff came out, and they changed their minds. They're like, "Oh, that's crazy! Like, how do you know this?" I was like, "Just follow people on YouTube. You know, they know what they're talking about."
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you were able to actually get that information and then make like an educated decision for yourself and didn't just blindly walk into it like many people did. So
Yeah,
that's
when
awesome.
When I heard about this troll, I was like, well, I'm going to call in. I'm going to let people know that Millie does know what she's talking about.
Yeah, I'm
because
glad you called in so
this
everybody
is
could
my
know
area.
that the phone, the phone's real. We're really saying call this number.
Right.
Like, come on, buddy, call it. So thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
And as far as the troll, I mean, anything's con artists. How original is that?
Can you turn it up?
Or just hold it closer to the mic. There you go.
Okay, yeah. What'd you say? Is the guy's name actually con artist, or is that what we're just calling him?
No, that's his name.
His
That's his
handle's con artist? I thought we were just calling him that.
How original is that? Like, you couldn't think of anything more original in 2023.
Well, he's just letting us know what he is, right? I mean, it's pretty clear. The guy's a con. He's just coming out here to troll, coming out here to talk some smack. He's probably out here on behalf of freaking Mark Zuckerberg or some of these big tech
George
guys
Soros
that are mad that we're out here trying to disrupt what they're trying to do, make billions of dollars off of people's data and privacy. It's disgusting.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on what we've been telling you guys tonight about QUX?
I think it's definitely making progress, and every time you live, you show the progress that you've made, which I think is good because it shows how hard you guys are actually working on this. And I know personally, I've looked into getting boxes and whatnot, and just hasn't been in my price range at the moment. But I'm definitely down for getting one in the future whenever it becomes available for me. Personally, I'd definitely be down for one.
Yeah, and I didn't even get to some of the awesome updates and progress that QX has made yet. Like, I haven't even talked about the QX TV subscriptions. Basically, cable television that you can get through QX TV. And the reason for this, because some people think, oh, well, this is weird. Like, you're just, basically offering a lot of the cable TV channels that many people have criticisms about, right? But the reality is if you get the cable TV channel subscriptions through QX, now you can watch TV without your TV watching you. So many people don't realize that those other TV services that they're getting, they're getting all your data. They're scraping your data. They are watching you watch TV. They actually they know every show you're watching, what your interests are. Some other smart TV boxes out there, not to name names, but I bet you guys can think of the big names that are out there. They actually can access your TV's cameras, if your TV has cameras, and actually videotape you watching TV. And literally watch you watching TV. There's been news reports on, I guess I'll just say it, there's been news reports on Roku and some of these other devices doing that. And people and hackers, foreign hackers being able to like hack in and access those cameras. And so people have to be careful about that type of stuff. And I mean, there's so much stuff going out there that your average person just doesn't know about. They're not being educated on. So I think that the tough part for us with QX is actually letting people know how bad the situation is and why QX is going to actually help protect them and keep them and their privacy safe from these external threats that are out there that they may not be actually aware of. So, yeah, and the other thing about the cable TV subscriptions is it's literally like half the price that people are paying for cable TV. It's insane.
And it's not just about the TV box now. Later it's going to be the phone. Later it's going to be the laptop. Later it's going to be our own tech competing with the enemy's tech. That's pretty much it.
Right, and the other cool thing about us getting the licensing and having the TV channel line up is that we can actually add in TV channels. So we're talking with other networks about actually adding in TV networks that have been completely blocked out from the mainstream media. Ooh, interference. It happens sometimes, guys. Bear with us. Chuck, do you want to take over here?
Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties.
But yeah. Oh. Get this out.
Yeah, the only other thing I could talk about right now is that I think it's really cool that the way QX is set up right now is there's about 3,000 verified users who all bought the box that are 3,000 red-pilled people that you probably know a lot of. And it's a little community right now. So get on the box, because soon the encrypted messaging is going to come out, and it's going to be 3,000 people that are literally this little knit base that literally we're going to have secret text that nobody can see except for us. So
Right, secret little chats and
yeah,
secret
dude,
things like that.
it's pretty cool. Nowhere else in the world, It's pretty much, it's our little, what is it called, a skip?
A skiff.
Skiff, yeah, it's our own little skiff on the little.
Yeah, it's interesting because we really went overboard on privacy and security. Some people were saying, oh, wow, like people who worked in like contracting with like the military and other, intelligence services were like, wow, these boxes would be really good to use as like a competitor for Nipper Sipper for like private networks, right? That they would use to engage in their own private comms with each other. And they were like interested in, hey, we would like to get these things or use them. And here's the thing. They already have something, right? This is for the American people. So what? The American people, obviously we can't see what they're seeing, what they're talking about, but they can all see what we're talking about. So this is for the American people to have private communications, to have private encrypted transactions, to be able to have a way to communicate with each other. And the idea here is to get enough of these boxes out here as like a mesh network to where literally we have our own internet that cannot be shut down unless you would literally have to destroy every single box.
Yeah, no DDoS attacks either. You can't DDoS it. You can't DDoS the actual box. So you got something live streaming on the box from the outside. You can't shut it down. Like we've had famous live streams on there that where their website itself got DDoSed and shut down completely. Their live stream removed completely, and there it was. Behold, still live on QX.TV, and you could buy the box on. Or is it the box? Yeah, the box.
QXNow.com. Go to QX Now. We do also have the QX.TV site if you want to check that one out as well. But go to QXNow.com to check out like the cable subscriptions and just some of the new stuff that QX is now offering. That's where you can see the cable subscriptions. But yeah, so I just want to thank you for calling in, and I don't know if wanted to give you one last opportunity to kind of close out, and if there's anything else you wanted to say before we let you go.
Oh, no, yeah, I just wanted to thank you for what you do and just encourage you guys to keep doing what you're doing. Just remember, all these people out here that, want to spread hate. If you get hate on anything you do, it just means you're doing it right. So if you got haters, you're doing it right.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. This is why I think it's so important that we have awesome supporters like you. So thank you for calling in. I really appreciate that.
Yep, not a problem.
All right. Bye-bye. Awesome. So anyone else want to call in? I guess Con Artist didn't want to call in.
I think Gavin wants to say something.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I wanted to... So Con Artist says, I dislike misleading claims such as QX privacy. Okay, so let's talk about QX privacy. So QX is verifiably a gapped distributed network without a centralized server that has patent pending encrypted packets, multi-layered. I'm not going to tell you how many layers, but more than 3. And each layer has 4096-bit encryption. The boxes are 256-bit end-to-end AES encryption. We have no data loggers. And the boxes only communicate with our server. The boxes communicate with each other. And the server only talks to the boxes. And we control our encryption keys. So I'd like to know how that's false privacy. Come on, con artist.
Yeah, call in.
Call in,
Call
con
in.
artist.
Refute it.
Call
Show
in,
us-
got
show us your proof,
plenty of
because-
answers for
Because
you.
here's the thing.
Do you think he's
We've-
British too?
No,
You think
this
he's all
is
sipping
the
tea and
funny thing I
crumpets?
think people need to know about. Okay, so QX's test pilots, which we've had like 2,500 pretty much at this point because
I'll be right back,
we
guys.
expanded it. Those test pilots have basically been testing the heck out of this device for like the past year. Many of those test pilots actually just so happen to work in various cybersecurity fields and various tech fields. People have tried to break the box, and we have encouraged them to do so. Meaning some of the test pilots were like, hey, can I try to break this thing? Can I try to get into it? And we're like, yes, please do, right? Not a single one has had any success trying to get into any box. Also, they've all been running like the packets. You can actually run a packet check and actually see the packets, right? What it looks like, and it's all clean. All right. So any claims out there by some trolls who don't even want to call in and talk in are just nonsense. It's bullshit. It's bots. It's most likely bots, or it's probably some kind of controlled opposition out there run by big tech or run by some of the establishment or CIA. Oh, it's not true. Oh, don't support
Or-
it because they want your freaking data, right? The CIA doesn't want people to
Or
see what's going on with
it's someone
QX.
who's only ever heard the narrative as it's been rolled out and thinks that Web 3.0, blockchain, crypto, these terms that are kind of trendy is, that all tech has to fit within that particular scope. Something that con artist might find interesting, given that he's an electronics engineer, is one of the individuals that I spoke to about what we do with QX is actually the inventor of the microchip.
Well, wait a second.
And hold
we
on.
can't. No. We can't. We're just gonna take a con artist's word for it that he's an engineer.
Sure, because
No, we're not.
It gives us
We're not taking that.
opportunity.
His
to
name is
speak to the
literally con
questions.
artist. His name is literally con artist. We're not gonna take whatever a con
Hold on,
artist
I'm
is
answering
saying
his questions.
at face value.
So if he's an electronics engineer, then he can appreciate that I was able to speak to the inventor of the microprocessor, who's a former colleague of an individual that I used to be great friends with, and this is the reason why I was able to get a hold of the guy. We also spoke with some of the DARPA engineers who involved with the virtual realm that was used to predictive model Scud missiles and where they would land, and certain security protocols that they would use. Quite a few other people. So what I can tell this electrical engineer, if he is an electrical engineer, is that the problem with the questions and the way you're attacking QX was built around all those issues. Like, for instance, you state that any electronic device can be penetrated at some point. Sure, there's a thing called the locksmith's credo, which is that every lock inherently can be picked because a key is a pick to the lock. So, hence us not having data loggers and several other things, is why hack into a multi-layered 4096-bit encrypted network that's got more cybersecurity people than you'd ever want to know, keeping an eyeball on it, with honey traps waiting for little keyboard kitties to try to get in so they can find themselves in jail. I'm just struggling.
Yeah, why
know what I
do
mean?
all
Like,
that
why
just
do
to
all
then
that?
get in there and there's nothing there?
Exactly.
Right? Like why would anyone even try? But that's the thing. Like there's nothing out there that's really offering this level of privacy and
I think
protection
that's
for
why
people.
yeah.
And yet con artist is probably texting all of this in the chat from a very unsecured device that probably has a bunch of backdoors that's pretty much made in freaking CCP land, and that he has no idea of what the hell's going on in his device that he's probably talking crap from. right?
I'll take
But
it
then he's
even
gonna try to
further.
come under us with a freaking magnifying glass when we've went literally above and beyond in privacy and security. Okay, we've built a network so everything's pretty much walled off and closed off and super private and secure, so that people could have a secure intranet type experience, right? For this guy to just come in and try to question that. You know what? I really think that we're spending too much time on a troll, Gavin.
It's not.
But I
it's
do
not
think
that we're
that
spending time on the troll. It's that when an individual is
Yeah,
hogging
come
up the
call us.
chat,
Yeah, dude.
why spend time texting when we can actually talk
Yeah,
these
come
things
call
out?
us, man.
Call
Why don't
us,
you call?
Right?
You don't got
In
a
fact,
phone?
And Hitler, let's give him the benefit of the doubt, because obviously he's using a persona. Obviously he thinks he needs to hide behind VPNs. He said that he's a person who's tracked. Okay, so you know what we'll do? Con artist, give us a call, verify that it's you, and I will personally send you a QUX box so that you can enjoy actually having privacy for real.
and then you won't have to worry
And
about
then you
being
won't have to
tracked.
worry. Exactly. Exactly.
What a blessing that is. What a blessing. That's right. Rain. We will rain and shower blessings on those, even those who are trying to destroy what we're doing.
He probably doesn't
know.
know any better. He probably doesn't understand it. He's probably used to the old. He's probably used to the old way of it, and he probably doesn't understand that there's an internet without being spied on.
And that might be the case. That might be the case.
He just needs the little red pill. But
He can't understand the complexity.
take the red pill.
Right. Can't understand the complexity of what's going on here. And if you did, then you would be able to at least give us a freaking call
It's exciting.
and talk
though.
about it.
It's
And
really
then maybe we
exciting.
might actually call you out on your BS that you're saying you're an engineer. You know, we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, interesting. But yeah, let me talk a little bit more about the cable subscriptions, because I'm really excited about that. I wish we could demo it. Maybe we'll do another video sometime soon where we demo it and pull that up. Yeah, you could actually, if you wanted, you could actually get that all going. That would be great. Because I really want to be able to show people the cool stuff going on with QX TV, where people can watch TV without their televisions watching them. And the other thing I was saying is that we could actually add in TV channels to the channel lineup, which is super exciting, because that's basically giving people who have had a glass ceiling or who have been kept out, it's giving them a seat at the table with a lot of these other bigger channels, and it's kind of bundling everyone, bundling subscriptions and packages together, so it saves you guys money, because I think a lot of the problem we're seeing right now with, I would say, the alternative medias, conservative medias as a whole, is they are just, you know, everyone's got a $5 subscription, everyone's got a $10 or $9.99 subscription, and after a while that really adds up and stacks up on the viewers. And so people are either paying really high amounts in subscriptions, or they are dealing with a situation where they just aren't in the know. So the idea is to kind of bundle a bunch of these channels in there so that you guys get a cheaper discounted rate for this entertainment experience and all this channels, all this content you want to see. And they get like a bigger, broader, you know, reach essentially to more homes, more people to be able to get their content out to. So it's exciting. It's exciting. And if you want to find more about it, QUXnow.com. That's where you guys can see the different channel subscriptions and what the offers are. I think we've even got one, the core channel is literally, guys, $19.99 for the base core.
100 channels.
Yeah, it's got 108 channels, and it even has local channels, for $19.99 a month. That's insane. Like, you're not gonna find that anywhere else. And there are a lot of good channels on there. Like, you can get OAN and Newsmax. You can get You know, I think it's got like VH1 and MTV and a bunch of stuff like that on there. And then it's got like the essentials package, which is like the mid-tier package, is $45 a month, and you get 170 something channels. Okay. And it's literally got like really nice prime time channels on there. It's got, you know, Fox News. It still has the OAN, Newsmax, all that other stuff. It's got like some movie channels. I think it's got Fox movie channels. Yeah, I guess you could show them. There's a bunch of stuff. Okay. And then, like, hold on. Let me just, one more thing. The ultimate package, which is like, it's got everything. It's got 339 channels, including HBO, Starz, Showtime. And when it has HBO, it's got like 14 different HBOs. When it's got Starz, like 20-something Starz. Like, it's got a bunch of different HBOs. So it'll be like HBO Family, HBO this, that, and the other. It's got tons of different entertainment on there. And that one's $114.99, okay, a month. And it's literally got all the big sports channels, NFL, and all the other. And then the other cool thing is, even if you don't like those exact packages or you want to make modifications, you guys can actually go in there and add on like a sports bundle, or add on a Spanish pack if you want Spanish speaking channels, or add on movie packs if you want certain different movie channels. So it's all fun. You guys can customize it, have fun with it. But know that when you're watching your TV through QX TV, one, they aren't able to watch what you're watching. So you're cutting off their access to your data, and you're protecting your privacy, which is what our founding fathers would want, because you're actually protecting your right by exercising your right, by maintaining your privacy. Two, you guys are helping continue to fund and support QX to grow and expand, to fight the fight against big tech by subscribing and getting your TV services through QX. Okay. Three, you're actually helping other conservative and alternative media networks be able to actually be on a TV box with the channel lineup where they can actually have a seat at the table and start to grow and expand their real news networks, and get more people and a bigger audience, so that more people can actually see what's going on. And four, by us having the cable TV on here, okay, we're going to be able to, not just reach conservatives, not just reach people like you guys who are concerned about data surveillance and privacy and security, concerned about being deplatformed. We're going to be able to reach your everyday Americans out there who maybe they are just completely, controlled by mainstream media messaging. Maybe they are people who just, they haven't seen the light of day. They haven't been red-pilled yet. So the idea here is, by giving them cable that's literally half the price, cheaper than what they're getting at all the other cable services out there, they can get on QX, and then they can actually be introduced to content that's going to open their eyes and essentially red pill them. So that is the strategy here, guys. I'm kind of laying it out for you so you can understand the blueprints, understand, since we're in this together, we're like the forefathers now, and one day we'll be forefathers to future generations. We're talking about one of the plans and strategies that we have here. So we need you guys to get behind this and go to QUXnow.com. Now, it looks like Gavin has got our demo ready for you guys. He's got the login all done, and he's on the QX TV platform right now. So go ahead, Gavin, show him.
Let me cut to the other camera real quick.
What other camera?
Chuck. So look pretty, Chuck. But not as pretty as you did in that one video you did.
My first introduction to the MillennialMillie broadcast.
Oh my gosh, we should play that sometime. That's hilarious.
Man, let's not play that.
Just go to MillennialMillie on YouTube and go to the very bottom of the upload list. You'll find it.
Yeah. He basically, what it was is that I did a man on the street video, and I had him like totally Chuck looks totally like a dude, right? I think he
I had
even
a
had
big
his
old
beard.
beard. I just got off work. I was like covered in like
Dirt.
dirt
Yeah.
and grime. And,
We
and
just put a wig on him, and I
and
think
a-
I had him wear
a dress shirt.
a dress shirt. And we went to like Target and
It
different
was right when
shopping
Target
centers.
was letting the tranny men into the women's restroom, and we basically went up and put a mic in people's face and said, "Would you like me to go to the bathroom next to you and your daughters?" And they were like, some of them were like, "No," and some of them were like, "Yeah." And it was
They'd
like
be
the weirdest thing.
they were trying to be so they were trying to be politically correct and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, it's okay," but their faces were like,
Yeah.
right. So,
All right, so let me go ahead
That
and
was
show this to
hilarious.
him. All right, so this is inside our television subscription dashboard. And as you can see, we've got local channels, right? All your favorite local stuff. Here's plenty of NASA content for all the flat earthers. And
Right.
so go to channels. This has all the premium channels. So this is literally what we've got, right? Like it's basically all the channels. And here's my favorite part. I'm not even looking at the YouTube comments, and I can already hear the people like, IPTV's illegal. You're going to get so busted. Well, guess what? This isn't IPTV.
we have
I
actual
have
licensing.
license agreements, buddy. So, yeah, I went out and got the license agreement so that we can actually have this content. And one person's like, oh, well, now you're making money for the establishment. No, what I'm doing, I'm actually pulling the establishment's audience in the QUX for cheap cable, so one click away, they're going to red pill the shit out of themselves.
Exactly.
Right? And then you guys can be in the
Genius.
comments section to guide them, right?
If we don't have the tech,
So here we go.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's
Look,
see
and
what's
there's
on
OAN.
One American News.
OAN's right there.
Oh, look. President Trump. Oh, wow. Fireworks. Let's see what's on Fox
Which wasn't
News.
OAN kicked off of DirecTV,
Yeah, they're kicked off of DirecTV.
but they're not kicked off of QX TV.
On QX.
Yeah.
What else we got? BBC.
Oh, that look like Fox News.
That's because this all ran out of the same studio, right?
There's BBC.
So, yeah, and then let's go to the bottom here. Look at all these movie channels. So we got Paramount, a million of those, a million stars. Bunch of HBOs, a bunch of Showtimes. Bunch of everything. So yeah, super stoked we did it. It's just one more thing we can have on QUX.
And,
Yeah.
you know, people getting, cut your cable, literally cut your cable, quit getting your cable TV through these other providers like DirecTV, who literally bans pro-Trump media outlets like OAN. Get your cable through QX. You literally can get it through your QX TV box, and you're going to be paying half the price. You're not going to be having all these added fees that they like to throw on you at these other cable companies. And you're going to be supporting and funding a company that's taking on big tech that respects your right to privacy. It's going to be funding your ability to not be spied on, and we're going to be able to essentially grow and expand and continue to offer more and more services, get these phones out there to you guys. That's what we really need to be doing. So come on, guys, check it out. Go to qxnow.com. That's where you can find out more. That's where you can sign up. See qxnow.com right there. Look at
Now,
that.
some people probably want to know, how do you guys know that the establishment's not getting data through the cable subscriptions? Because I signed 2 contracts to that. I could sue the shit out of them if they did, for one. And 2, we've got a very sophisticated chief technical officer that knew how to set up the arrangements so that all that we exchange our serial number information. It's that simple. The thing that people don't understand is it's actually very easy for big tech not to spy on everybody. But they want to, right? Or it's real easy. send a bunch of middlemen over to China to get some, mid-tier products, ship them over to America, and like, oh yeah, well, it's them damn Chinese. When the reality is what comes out of China is what people order. And the reason why there's so many backdoors in all of the products is because they told the factory to put it there. Like, that's what's crazy. You go out and you actually make something, and you learn a lot more about what's actually going on than what, the narrative and counter-narrative have to say.
Right, and, like, I think your average person is just kind of being spoon-fed, like, bad information about certain things, and then they're being kind of misled by people who themselves were not even ever going straight to the source. Like, it's like secondhand information versus going actually and becoming a manufacturer and speaking with other manufacturers, or going out there and doing it yourself. You actually learn what's really going on. You learn how to make something the right way. And so I think that a lot of people just they don't just, quite frankly, they're talking out of their freaking ass, and they don't know what they're talking about. And then they try to hype up and gin up all this false concern and act like they're an authority and like they know what the hell they're talking about, and they freaking don't. Like, you think that, we created an electronics device. We've created an operating system, our own hardware, firmware, kernel. Like, we've created all these things. You think that we don't know what we're talking about? And here's the thing. I get it. Like, I'm a journalist, so clearly I'm not a tech expert, okay? But that doesn't mean I'm not working with tech experts who would literally school your butt. If our CTO was on here right now, he would school all these freaking trolls, okay? This guy is beyond talented, and fully believes in freedom, okay? So yeah, like, it's ridiculous. The trolling and hating is ridiculous. Did you want to show on the QX TV some of the, what was it called, where they can replay, like, not the like the playbacks?
I just got the camera plugged back in.
Oh,
Well,
I was having fun showing people. There's some pretty interesting features on there where, like, you can go in and find each different episode where you can watch it whenever you want to start watching it. You don't have to, like, let's say you didn't get home till later and there was a show you really wanted to catch or watch. It's in there. I think it's like over 7 days. It goes quite a while back, where you can actually go back and watch it, right? So there's a lot of really interesting features in there. And there's a bunch of movies and different things you guys could go watch on your own time too, where you start it and watch it. And the idea here is to start to get some other independent filmmakers as well and get their movies in there, right? Like,
come to the Ark.
Right, come on the Ark, right? Get on Noah's Ark. We're
Before
building
the
an Ark.
world floods,
Right.
and there ain't no other choice. That's pretty much it. Everybody's welcome as long as you're not doing anything illegal. Come on, come one, come all.
Yeah, pretty much. We're building out the new digital frontier.
If you've been snubbed, if you've been censored, if you've been depressed, if you have tyrancy oppressing you, come to Quicks. Come to the new land. Come to the new landmass. Come to the new dimension.
It's like the new America.
The new America.
The new America. This is it. Atlantis.
But in all fairness, okay, we do have a lot of strategic partnerships with other people, other businesses, other companies, because there's a lot of features that are coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
There's
All
even
right?
more coming,
So
guys.
it's not like QX is just Chuck, Millie, and I sitting here playing around in our garage. No. This is like really serious people, and at some point,
patriots that are all coming together for the betterment of our country, that are concerned about their kids and grandkids and what is going to become of us all, right? Like, the stuff going on in tech right now with AI, with these predictive models.
And
if you really fully understood exactly how bad it is, you wouldn't be able to sleep at
And
night.
these people know if they give up their big tech and they jump on something like this, a lot of people, man, are going to get destroyed. A lot of people, like, if you guys don't show your support, if you guys don't back behind them, if imagine if 5 generals, fought against the British and everybody was like, oh, well, and went away, they'd all be treason. If these patriots step up and say, screw you to big tech, come over to Quicks or stay on big tech and broadcast in Quicks, at least get on Quicks, get the thing over to Quicks, be a part of Quicks, you better show their support, That's a big step.
Yeah, like basically like people like Rudy, right? Like is he going to be retaliated against for getting on QX because he's basically like leaving. He's leaving for the new America. He's taking his ship. He's like the captain of the ship, the captain of the Mayflower, and he's heading to the new land, and he's bringing his crew with him. He's bringing his followers. He's bringing his people. Like people like Pete Santilli's already doing this.
That's
Worldview
a threat
Weekend,
to big tech, yeah.
Lindell TV, like a bunch of people. Like Tori says, it's brought a bunch of her people on there, right? So we're all just bringing our people. We're getting away from it. We're going to be in a place where we can all communicate with each other and share information like never before. This is where all the real information is going to be being shared, right? So this is where you're going to be able to find all the best info that's literally uncensored information that you're not going to be able to find on other social media platforms because how rapidly they're able to remove stuff. It's insane how fast they can remove stuff with their algorithms. So, yeah, this is where all the banned people are going to be too, which means it's where the fun's going to be.
No,
right?
Think about it. Look at the chaos we're creating. We're going to sell a TV box where you can get your favorite television cable programming for half the price. We don't have a 3-year contract. We just have a 1-year contract. But you could still quit at any time, right?
Right.
Right next to all the banned material. I mean, look at that. It's like putting hot water and cold water right next to each other. What's going to happen? Thermodynamics is what's going to happen. You're going to have entropy. You're going to have chaos. You're going to have heat flowing from one direction into the other. And that's exactly what we're doing. It's like we're actually making a thing that does solution work. We're not just sitting here talking about, oh my gosh, it's so terrible. I mean, what a joke that our society's Achilles heel is a 3x5 piece of glass and plastic that if everyone just said no thank you, it would be over.
Right.
But no, we have to have our little devices. We have to have our screens. We have to have our, all our stuff. Okay, so what do? You replace the same thing with something slightly different and better, right? But then you go the extra mile. You make it more secure than all this other stuff is. You make it more private than all this stuff. But you keep going the extra mile. We built out our own payment rails. Can you wrap your head around? Do you even know what that means?
Well, why don't you explain what it means to people that
What
don't
it
know
means
what it
is we conduct our own transactions without a PayPal, without a Venmo, without a Chase, without a Visa, without a MasterCard. As in your bank to our bank, that we've got a contractual agreement for this purpose. Okay? Just like the contractual agreement we have with the suppliers of television content.
So for your average person, like, how is you having, like, QX having its own payment rails, the ACH rails, without having to use Visa or MasterCard or any of that to do transactions, how does that differ from, like, say, PayPal?
Okay, perfect. So PayPal is really just white labeling Visa, MasterCard, Chase, or whatever. They're just white
Like a third-party processor, right?
Well, they're white labeling a retail bank processing. Okay, so they're a third-party network. Why? Because they're the third party. There's
right.
You, there's the person you're buying from, and then there's the third party. But because they're not an actual bank, okay, the actual bank that they're white labeling the product gets all of the transaction data. Why? Because they're the bank. They're the financial institution processing the payments. So what happens? Oh, I don't know. someone tries to donate some money to Millie or buy a pillow from Mike Lindell, and oh, your money's been held up in a security reserve for no less than 270 days. So unfortunately, we're just going to hold your money, right? And that's happening to a lot of people. A lot of these conservatives are having to wait literally 270 days to get the money from the customer. And here's what's crazy. The money. So what do you do when the customer's money's been taken by a third-party processor and they're sitting on it? What are you supposed to do, the store owner? Oh, sorry, the bank stole your money? That's not going to work. So you actually have to ship out product to all these customers that you never got paid from. So imagine the situation people are in with having to wait 270 days to get their money, even though the transaction's not only been cleared, but the product's already in use by the person that purchased it.
And they tried to pull that stunt on QUX.
That's why we had to make our own
They
processor. We had over $100,000 fucking dollars taken from us and put into a security reserve.
For really no reason. They were just like, it was an unusually high amount of sales.
We had to hire lawyers. We had to do all this crazy stuff. And we had to borrow money and pull money out of our own pockets to provide the product that was purchased. Imagine what that does to a small tech company that's got less than $500,000 investment over a 4-year period.
Right.
It almost killed us.
It was funded by the people.
But the problem
they tried
is
to take the
people
money,
kept funding it. This is the craziest part. Imagine having 300 sales locked up that money and not one chargeback. Because that's the kind of customer we have. People that believe in what we're doing, trust in what we're doing, and know that it's necessary.
And then you know what? You know what QX did? So even though that money, that customer's money was actually taken and locked up, so QX never even received it because literally they like took it. It was the craziest thing. Like as the sales volume was coming in, it was like a bunch of sales coming in January, like tons, right? They took it, right, and routed it out. And then they held that up. And even though QX didn't get the money, we're like, we're just still going to make good on all those boxes. We don't give a crap. They took the money. Okay, we'll eat it. And we just sent out the people their boxes, you know? Eventually, finally, after the lawyers and everything else, they released the funds. Good, right? But that type of stuff, when you have like a startup company, that's stuff that's meant to try to destroy you, right?
And this is happening.
If there was a bunch of, let's say there was a bunch of people that were like, oh, let me do a bunch of chargebacks or.
And it's happening
like,
at the same time we've
right.
got a copyright dispute with BlackBerry. Why
Right.
would BlackBerry, of all companies, choose to pick a fight with us?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, we're having our money soaked up by a third party. So here's the crazy part. So we went ahead, we reached out to banks, reached out to all kinds of people, and ultimately found a bank that was willing to sign a contract with us to make it so the transactions would never be canceled. So what it is I'm actually, it's kind of a trip. In a really weird way, QX actually isn't a third-party network. It's almost like it's a second-party network. Because what's wild is we're further up the totem pole than PayPal is with their payment processing.
Right.
So when
Because
you
they're just a third party.
So when you
processing.
use QUX for payment processing, it's literally your bank and our company's bank doing the transaction. There's no third party in the middle to interfere with it. So either your bank's fucking up or our bank's fucking up. And that's called phone calls, and you get to the bottom of it. It's not, oh, you got to go to this website and type a message to an AI bot that'll get back to you later, right? No, it's real shit. So that's why I kind of get a little teed off when some of these people that don't know their head from their ass want to come talk shit about my company. It's because, dude, you guys are part of the problem, if not the main part of the problem. Y'all want to just jump onto all this tech, not even look before you leap. We all end up in some crazy nightmare. And then the handful of people that want to try and build some life vests to get out of it, you want to poke holes in it? Stupid.
It's bots. I'm sorry, but it's bots. Like, we gave out the phone number. Person didn't call. I'm convinced it's a bot.
Yeah, you offered him
or
a free
troll.
box.
Yeah,
You're
you're like,
"Yeah,
I'll
you
give
want
you a free box.
box?"
Put the phone number out there. We had somebody else call in who was actually a supporter,
Yeah.
right? But we didn't have this person. So I'm convinced it's a troll. Somebody using anonymity, some freaking CIA contractor or something in here trying to like put disinformation and sow discontent in the chats. That's what they do. We did a whole freaking documentary about this. Shadowgate. We did a whole documentary about this. We know what they do. We know their tactics, and they try to hack your shadow. They try to get under your skin. So
They're not trying to convince us anything because we know the truth. They're trying to convince you, the audience.
yeah,
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get
bingo.
you guys veered off the path.
Bingo. You couldn't have said it better, Chuck. That's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to mislead people with bad information, misinformation, whatever you want to call it, like deliberately putting BS on there that they don't even care if they don't have any way to back up what they're saying. They're just trying to sucker some people who might be ignorant or might be, not privy.
Somebody on the edge.
Yeah.
Someone that's like, oh, I really want this. I'm not sure. And then they see some comment, some made up fib
Some
like
CIA guy in Joe Biden's basement or Obama's basement. I'm gonna get them now. Hunter Biden. Right. No, it's a CIA freaking troll, probably a tranny. Who knows? In a basement somewhere.
It's the Bud Light girl.
With a SpongeBob shirt on or something, like sitting there like some basement dweller. I'm gonna get them now, and I'm using misattribution and non-attribution, so they won't be able to try to, trace it to my exact location. No, right?
Because he's worried we'd have his phone number, be able to track him down.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I don't want to call because then they're gonna sue me for slander because they're gonna know who I am, and I'm not gonna be able to prove what I'm saying is actually true because I know I'm full of shit. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Clear as day. Clear as day. So yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. But this is what we put up with. We have been hit with nonstop attacks. Most of our attacks actually have been from liberals and leftists. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's a leftist in the chat. All these leftists did hit pieces on QX, and then they even were like doing these little YouTube videos and reviews or just talking about QX and saying, well, not even really a product review because this was right when the test pilot program came out, but they were like, we don't want the conservatives to be able to have free speech. We don't want them to be able to say whatever they want to say, right? Because they want to censor us. They want to have control. Them and their little Silicon Valley tech elitists want to pick and choose what the people see. They want to pick and choose what children and future generations see. They want to say, you can't say that. You're bad. Let's convince everyone that all the conservatives need to go to re-education camps and need to have their kids taken away because we have the control. We control social media. We control the minds of the people. Bunch of freaking control freaks who don't want you to have a voice and don't want you to be able to see information and access information that they themselves want to be able to censor from you and control the narrative. So, of course, they're upset and they're attacking this because this is a threat to their power and control. This is a threat to the power of control of the woke mafia. That's what I'm going to call them. The woke freaking mafia who want to try to shove their freaking LGBTQ freaking agendas all down our throats. No thanks, you sick freaks. Sorry. No thanks. Like, I don't want my kids seeing that. I don't want my kids, getting that woke agenda. No thanks. I don't want my kids going to freaking drag shows with freaking trannies twerking in front of them. I wouldn't let them in front of a freaking a stripper show with a freaking cisgender person twerking in front of them, scantily dressed. So why would I let them in front of any freaking adult? Like, it's disgusting. It's freaking disgusting. So yeah, it's those people, which I'm probably gonna get this video. You know, I went a little overboard here. Hey, if I get banned, guys, you know where to find me. If I get banned, you know where to find me on QUX. Okay, you might want to get that box because who knows if I'm gonna get myself banned here today. But yeah, so yeah, like I'm not having it with the woke mafia. They can all freaking screw off, as far as I'm concerned. But hey, if they want to come on QX, they'll have fair playing ground. But see, that's what they don't want. They don't want it to be fair because they know they're going to lose. They know that truth will rise to the top. The people want truth. And when there's the option, the people are going to get it. That's what the people are going to want. And we saw the beginnings of that in 2016 when all this information was flying around. It was like wild, wild west on social media. And people got information. All this stuff started coming out, the freaking WikiLeaks stuff exposing Hillary Clinton, all that stuff. It was fire. That can happen again on QX, but that's never going to happen again on social media.
So,
it's completely controlled.
Newsflash. I'm not going to say too much. But let's just say some of our more advanced test pilots who are watching on QUX have jumped in and they're now playing with the troll.
Oh, this is going to be fun. So it's escalating. Ooh. Well, I wonder if they're going to be trying to do
but you know what's funny?
Here's some trace routing
here's
on
the
this
cool
guy.
part.
Or
Notice
he,
the
she, or they,
QUX
whatever it is.
viewers were able to watch the troll and swoop down on him, and he had no idea they were coming.
Oh, wow.
See, that's called strategy. You can't see what's happening in QUX, but QUX can see what's happening outside of it. So, I don't know, man. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But
Right.
a lot of horses will drink.
Exactly. Well, it's nothing like seeing a troll getting put in his place. That's for sure. So, trolls are gonna troll, Gavin. Don't feed the trolls. Dang it! Don't feed the trolls.
Don't feed the troll farms.
No, I like to eat them for a late night snack.
It is fun destroying trolls. Let's bring that back. Let's bring back 20.
Even if it is just an
You know who-
AI, it is sometimes fun to argue with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Even Trump's the great troll destroyer. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Right? The troll destroyer. And you know, or you could always argue with Siri, right? I
Yep.
swear, Siri gets on my damn nerves, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm just
Dude,
always
she wouldn't-
telling
Damn
Siri to
nerves.
butt out of my business.
She almost made me crash today.
It's
She
like,
almost,
we'll be talking the most insane shit, and here comes Siri. Like, I didn't quite catch that. It's like, you weren't supposed to. Beat it, lady.
Yeah, and then
Friggin'
whenever I'm like Siri, like I'm trying to like tell my phone like Siri, she doesn't freaking respond. She's like, But then like I'm in the middle of a conversation and we're talking about some crazy thing, and then all of a sudden she's like, I'm not quite sure I understood that. Or she'll start repeating some of it. Would you like me to call? Would you like me to place a call, or would you like me to da da da? It's like, no, dang it. You know, there's a serious issue.
There's a Siri.
There's a serious problem
yeah.
with Siri. Siri now has started to only respond to Josh's voice too. It's really weird. You know, because they like supposedly learn your voices, but somehow the Siri has decided it likes my son better, and it only responds to his voice now mostly, and not mine.
Well, here's something, because I like to follow some of the smaller influencers, because you end up finding out they're getting more shit and more censorship than anybody. And there's this one guy whose voice has been copywritten by someone who just wants to shut him down, and he's like in like a 2-year court battle over it.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane. How do you do that? Don't copyright
Better?
my voice. At
What
least I'll be
kind
able
of
to talk in
technology
QX, because I'll
facilitates
be
it?
like, that's a false DMCA request. That's crazy, though.
But what it's that the technology facilitates it. And as someone who has a tech company, if I had customers call me with this kind of complaint, it would be handled probably before the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't little stuff, you know?
Right? Notice how most of these other tech companies, like, there's no way to call them or contact them. They're like I've been completely demonetized from YouTube, but it's like, oh, you can just respond to our support email or whatever.
Or how about they'll be like, oh,
And
you
just
should,
they don't
you
really
haven't
give you
been
any reasoning.
monetized for 18 months. You should reapply. And then you'll go reapply for monetization. Like, oh, we're reviewing your channel and we've had to remove a bunch of stuff. So they'll use your attempt to get remonetized as an excuse to go in and delete a bunch of your content and then say, because we had to delete all this content, you're no longer eligible for monetization. Try back in 18 months.
Yep. That's what they do. That's what they do on YouTube, guys.
Meanwhile, on QUX, the content creator gets 20% of the gross of the advertising revenue. I'd like to see another tech company offer that.
Yep. There's
20%
way
of the gross.
better monetization.
How about that, con artist?
Yep. Way better monetization, and people can, like, you know, can gift things to their favorite creators and support them through the QX tokens, which is encrypted. And it's a better platform for people to be able to engage in, really and truly. And like I said, like, monetization, you know, that's great. That's not my main reason for wanting to basically get off YouTube and abandon some of these other platforms. It's really about having to self-censor, you know? Like, do you guys really want me to be on here with you guys, like, self-censoring? You know, I don't like to have to do that. And I think that's large in part why I haven't been doing the podcasts or the shows lately, because I don't like having to sit up here and self-censor myself. It feels like defeating. It feels demoralizing to have to do that. Because I'm somebody who, you know, I'm very stubborn and proud about my First Amendment rights and my ability to say what I want to say. And I've been having to self-censor ever since they started up with a lot of this censorship, because really it's not as much about them banning, like, oh, you've been suspended or oh, you've been censored. It's about them actually having to make us have to self-censor. It's like, bend the knee or you're off our platform, right? So to me, you know, I don't like it. So that's why I've been spending so much of my time, for those of you guys who've been wondering, where's Millie been? Where's Millie been? I've been spending a lot of my time working with QX, doing whatever I can to help facilitate getting everything built out so that everyone can also be on QX, getting a bunch of other people on QX like Rudy Giuliani and others, so that things can grow, things can expand. And so I'm at the point now where I'm also going to be doing my podcast up on QX as well. And hopefully you guys will be watching that on there soon. And I'm going to just be speaking very freely and very off the cuff and saying things that I do not say on these other platforms. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys go to qx.tv or qxnow.com, either or, and sign up. If you already have a box, sign up for the QX TV cable subscriptions. That would help QX a lot continue to fund and grow. And you would also be getting a killer deal and respecting your privacy at the same time. And I really hope, if you guys have not yet gotten on QX, now is the time. Test pilots have worked through the bugs and the issues with us. Now's the time. It's go time, guys. Get on the QX network. Get your box. Go to qx.tv or qxnow.com. Get your box today, because that's where you're going to be finding me in the very short future, that's where you're going to be able to get my exclusive podcasts that I'm going to be doing. And that's where you're going to be getting a lot of these people who have been banned or who are potentially going to be banned in the future, right? You're going to be getting their content as well on QX. And really what you're doing is you're supporting the fight against big tech. So this is a call to action to you guys, the freedom lovers out there who want to actually do something, who are sick and tired of all the bitching and moaning and complaining about, oh, you know, big tech, oh, censorship, oh, they're winning. Like, I'm sick and tired. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick and tired of just sitting here as a journalist having to constantly report on how the conservatives are getting their butts handed to them. Continually having to report on how big tech is winning. The Democrats are winning. They're freaking kicking our butts. And I'm having to sit here, oh, look at the woke agenda in the schools. Oh, look at this, look at that. What are we actually doing to fight back? Like, I don't want to just be some journalist that sits up here and complains all the time. I want to be able to actually report on us kicking butt and winning, us doing something to secure our rights for our kids and our, you know, grandkids and future generations. I want to report on positive things that are happening, things that are taking place that mean that we're actually fighting back. So that's why, because I'm such a solutions-oriented person, that's why I even wanted to embark upon this journey with QX, because I'm sick and tired of just complaining about problems without actually trying to find a solution to the problem and to put a solution out there. And so, you know, show me another person out there who's actually trying to do that. Show me another journalist who's actually trying to do that.
And for all the people that are trolling, saying go to Rumble, I just have to say one thing. The two top owners of Rumble are Vanguard and BlackRock. And it's ran out of Canada.
Shareholders, yeah.
So how's that like an American political instrument? Like, I'm sorry, but
it's like, do
what's
people even
frustrating
actually
when
look
people
under the
don't even
hood?
look under the hood
Right.
of the things that they're recommending. And nothing against Canada, but you would think that American conservatives would be able to get their shit together, that they could have an operation in, oh, wait. Is it legal to run influence operations in the United States domestically? Oh, no.
Has Rumble made any guarantees or promises about your data privacy and security? Has Rumble done that? I haven't heard it.
Wait, would the CIA have to set up shop in another country to do domestic operations in America? You know, I don't think people ever think this stuff very deep.
So wait a second. If Rumble's running around and signing a bunch of alternative and conservative content creators with exclusive rights and exclusive contracts for their content and their videos, what happens if something happens? What happens if, you know, that content can no longer be found?
You mean, what if BlackRock or Vanguard as shareholders use their position to influence the company into a different direction?
I mean,
Oh my
I don't know.
gosh.
These things are possible. We're just kind of posing questions here. So I think that...
And I think those are more legitimate questions than what Con Artist was throwing up there. Because Con Artist doesn't even have a box to even be able to speak to anything he's saying.
Are we still on Con Artist? Is this still Con Artist that's
No.
trolling?
No, I just like, when I see low-hanging fruit, I like to cut it.
Right. Gavin must partake in the troll slaying. Right? He likes to slay the trolls in the chats. Have at it, trolls.
It's 2:37 in the morning, okay? I can talk as much shit as I want.
He's like, don't prevent me from attacking the trolls. But yeah, I mean, it's like people don't seem to...
I don't know. sometimes they like to
I
roll
think
over
it's
on
just
piss on
honestly. I
themselves
think
and
that
wonder
these
why
are.
we
I
don't
think
want
it's
to.
bots. I think it's bots, and it makes me wonder. Well, who does that give us any indication as who's attacking us, right? So we're
It's
getting
actually
bots
Plato's
attacking
cave.
QX, and then we're getting bots also pushing for Rumble. So does that give us any indication of who's attacking us? I don't know. And why would they be attacking us? Right?
Because
Interesting.
anyway, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, the reality is this. When you're trying to go up against the establishment, when you're trying to go up against big tech and the deep state, you're going to be attacked. You're going to have to be able to just get used to being attacked. And so, yeah, that's what's happening. QX gets attacked. I get attacked all the time. Like, hit piece after hit piece, all these leftists. I mean, literally, Stanford Research Observatory professors and intellectuals up at the university all sitting around a table trying to figure out and scheme how to censor my speech and censor Steve Bannon's speech. Kid you not, there was an AP article, guys, where they literally were talking about Rene DiResta and these researchers at these prestigious universities figuring out how to better censor me in live time, because during my election coverage, I had 20,000 people watching me live. I was having thousands of people watching me live on YouTube. And then once they sorted those kinks out and figured out a better way, because they were having no troubles, you know, they started to be able to fully censor and use algorithms to suppress my static videos, meaning just a video that was uploaded. But there was this time period where they hadn't yet quite mastered suppressing a live stream and censoring a live stream. And now they have, right? It's clear as day. You can just see it. You can see it. Like, people aren't getting the notification. They're not seeing it in their feeds, even though I've got 500,000 people pretty much that have literally hit subscribe. And I know that, you know, these are legit accounts, because I've seen over the years the, you know, the analytics of the trajectory and the amount of views and the amount of reach that my videos and accounts have amassed over the past couple years has literally been ridiculous. Okay. And this was something that accumulated and grew over time with videos trending and everything else. So all these people that literally like clicked follow and subscribe on my channel, only the most minute fraction of them are actually even seeing that I'm live right now. The most minute. Like, I don't know the exact math, but if you have 500,000 people, right, and less than 500 are even watching you, what's the percent on that? What is the percent on that? I mean, that's insane, right? And then every once in a while I get all these people coming in and it's like, oh, I haven't seen you on Twitter. I haven't seen you tweet in like over a year. And I've been tweeting like a lot. Been doing lots of Twitter spaces, lots of tweets. I haven't seen you tweet in over a year. Any tweets from you in over a year. Yeah, because I'm ghost banned. I'm shadow banned. They only allow the most minute fraction of people actually see my tweets that follow me. You know? It's completely rigged on these social media platforms. We can't get the reach. We can't get the message out anymore. They've shut it down. They've freaking locked us down and locked us out. But we are literally like ghosts now. Okay? We're talking to a freaking brick wall. How are we supposed to open people's minds? How are we supposed to reach new people on their platforms? So we got to start thinking about other things.
Hey, Millie. Someone wanted to know why the background reflection is slightly delayed. Maybe it's time we mention that we are in a parallel universe communicating to them through a portal into their reality.
Yeah, this is actually my portal on QUX, on the QUX TV box right here. Okay. So what we're watching is me on TV right now. So the reason why there's a delay is because just like with any live stream, or just like, you know, it has a delay, like maybe a couple seconds delay with the TV. So yeah, so you're watching me on TV, and not only am I live right now on the TV you're seeing here, I'm live on the thousands of QX boxes out there on those people's TVs too, right? So that's the magic of QUX, is that anyone can build a portal and be on TV, right? So yeah, and it's coming soon, which is currently still in development, we have the QX Connects app as well, which you can already kind of do this through the just the browser where you go live, but the QX Connects app is going to make that seamless, where people are going to be able to run around with their phones, do some citizen journalism, literally going and covering protests and events, and be literally streaming it directly, and it's going to be on people's portals on the box. So people are going to be running around live streaming.
Let me mention something about that, though. So when Millie and I would be at events filming, what could happen is protesters would see, oh, look, there's MillennialMillie, right? Then they'd go to her YouTube channel, and then they'd start to flag it to disrupt her ability to stream at a live event.
Right.
The beauty of streaming a live event into QX is people don't have the ability to just go around you and cancel your live stream because they don't like what you're doing.
Exactly. And it gives the tools to people to be able to literally with just a phone be on TV. Mm-hmm. Look, Mom, I'm on TV, right? Just with the phone. It's like, forget having to be like a big news broadcaster with one of those big old things you carry around on your shoulder anymore. You could just do it with the phone, and then here you are on TV in a private, secure network where your parents could be watching from home. Who knows? Your family members could be watching from home. So yeah, it's pretty exciting, guys. It's getting pretty late here. I'm thinking about closing it out. But yeah, I hope you guys all check out the qxnow.com website, qx.tv. Get on the box, guys.
Can we close it out with the Charlie Chaplin speech?
Yeah, I think we should probably close it out with like a Charlie Chaplin speech. Chuck, I want to give you an opportunity to close it out. Give your last final say on 4th of July and the Founding Fathers and what you think the message should be. I know you're tired. I'm tired a sec too. But give your closing thoughts on like what you think the people should learn from today's broadcast, and what you think that they could do to fight back in America against tyranny.
I think that when you buy a QUX box, you're not just buying a box. It's not just a box. Look past that. What you're buying is the freedom of technology, and I think that the Founding Fathers would want nothing more than your freedom and sovereignty. I think that we need your support. We need to make this happen. We need people like you to come together and spread the word, because like Millie said, we're pretty much shadow banned. We get limited reach. We could only shove so far. The closer we get to the goal, the more they're gonna hit us hard. You guys work so hard to do this. You guys gave everything. We gave everything, and it's just one last little push. One last little push, and we got something big that that they don't control. This isn't owned by BlackRock. This isn't owned by Vanguard. This is owned by no lobbyists. This is our own little thing, and hopefully soon it's going to be owned by you, the people, when we start our interest group with you guys.
Like the Patriot Investor Group.
Patriot Investor Group. It's going to be fun. Yeah, Millie and Gavin own, well, how many? What percent? 95, 93, 90, something like that. And yeah, hopefully we could get on that and get that pushed to you guys, and then you guys can compete in that and own your own internet. So I want to say God bless America, 1776, and thank you guys for your support.
Exactly. They're not going to take our guns away. They're not going to take our First Amendment away. They're sure as hell not going to take our privacy away. If we have anything to do with it, that is. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's special 4th of July broadcast. Stay tuned. I will be doing more broadcasts lately, so make sure you guys are checking back in, because you know you're probably not going to be getting some of these notifications with the level shadow banning going on. All right, guys. Have a good night, and God bless America.
I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. That's not my business. We all want to help one another. Sorry. But I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or
Make
conquer
sure our
anyone.
mics are off.
I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful. We've lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!